gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, January 7th, 2019. I'm fixing my audio. My audio sucks. Fixing it, my bad. Happy New Year, everyone. I missed you. It's good to be back. Yes, in case you're wondering, why am I sitting here and not that new studio, that brand spanking new studio that you saw last week? Well, I think there's some sort of college football game going on, and it's important, and everything's tied up. And so we're back here, but we're back there next week. And you know, there is something comforting about being back in a place where you sort of called home for several months. So I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be doing the show. If you have been living under a rock, a lot of things have happened, including our New Year's Eve show, which aired on television on ESPN2. I hope you enjoyed it. So that was a lot of fun. And if you watched it and saw that studio that we were in, we'll be back in that studio from here on out, except not this week. We're here for this week. At least one more time. You never know what's going to happen, but at least for now, this is the last time that we're here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. We have a lot to discuss. Of course, we haven't done a live show like this since, I think it was like December 18th or 19th or even 17th, maybe even 16th, right after that UFC Milwaukee show. So obviously a lot has happened with John Jones and Tyron Woodley and Floyd Mayweather, and we gave out a bunch of awards, and PFL ended their year on a pretty high note, and of course we're now in the new UFC on ESPN era, and there's so much exciting things. We're on the road to Brooklyn. All those things are happening, and initially my plan was that we were going to talk about the last 2 weeks, and I was going to run down my awards and talk about some honorable mentions that I didn't have a chance to talk about on the air because we were on television. We were sort of, tied to some time constraints, and we couldn't really go as long as I wanted to in certain departments. But here on this platform, on this program, we can go a little longer. However, plans changed yesterday because a whole bunch of news occurred and broke. John Jones, Anthony Smith, but perhaps even more interesting was the fact that Tyron Woodley versus Kamaru Usman broke. In fact, I broke it, but it came out, it's official, and so a lot of people were wondering what Colby Covington had to say. So we are going to save that talk for the post show with New York Rick. We'll get to that in a bit, and we'll talk about all the stuff that happened at 2:33 and whatnot. No, 2:32, is it? 2:32? Yeah, 2:33 was the one that was canceled. Anyway, you get the point. We'll run down all the stuff that we missed. For now, though, let me run down today's lineup. By the way, I hope you like my trophy. There it is, the prestigious Helwani Nose Trophy. We'll talk about this. I'll give you my honorable mentions and thoughts on the award winners and whatnot. Okay, this is the lineup. Alex Hernandez, 3:45. He meets Donald Cerrone on the Brooklyn card on January 19th. Sean O'Connell is going to join us at 3:25. He won $1 million in the PFL finale and then retired. Pretty incredible. The real OC. Rachael Ostovich will join us about competing on that January 19th card, and of course everything that has happened in her life over the past 2+ months. Cain Velasquez is back. He meets Francis Zingano on February 17th. We'll talk to him at 2:45. In the headliner, of course, of the first ESPN main card. Looking forward to that. Has been a while since we talked to Cain. Kat Zingano will update us on her eye at 2:25. Corey Anderson will be in studio at 1:45. And Joanne Calderwood will stop by at 1:25. She's also on that Brooklyn card. But first, let us not waste any more time. Let us go to the Skype machine and say hello to our first guest of the day. He joins us right now via the magic of Skype, the one and only Colby Covington. Hello, Colby. How are you?
Hello, Ariel. I'm doing good, brother. It's good to see your pretty face again.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's nice to see you smiling. I didn't know if you would be smiling this time. You're still smiling despite the fact that you did not get the nod for the welterweight title.
How can I not be smiling, Ariel? I'm very thankful for everything I have. Coming up from the life that I grew up, in a very poor family, and And, being in a wrestling family, I've been living out my dreams since I was 7 years old. I started this journey when I was 7 years old, and I made a promise to my parents that I was going to be a world champion. And here I am. I'm a world champion. I accomplished my goals. But the thing is it's just the beginning. I'm just getting started on my goals.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that and see that you're in good spirits. So let me ask you, it's the big question that everyone has been talking about for the past 24 hours. Once it became official that Woodley was going to be fighting Kamaru Usman on March 2nd and not you, in the end, why didn't you get the title shot?
In the end, I didn't get the title shot because, politics behind, you wanted to pull the curtain back today. So we're pulling back the curtain, Dana White, he's lied to me. The UFC, they've lied to me. They made promises to me that, I was going to fight Tyron Woodley in November at Madison Square Garden. They made promises I was going to fight him in January in California. And then all of a sudden I'm getting passed up for a guy behind me that's beating my sloppy seconds. It's not even a guy that the fans want to see. If anything, Dana and the UFC, they're shitting on the fans. I mean, you did a poll. 75,000 people voted. 80% of the people wanted me to fight Tyron Woodley. I mean, there was a bunch of other polls on MMA Junkie. Tyron Woodley did a poll. I mean, Tyron Woodley was out there begging for me to fight. I almost feel bad for Tyron Woodley now. He's like 0 for 6 in fights he's trying to call. So, but we also found out that Tyron Woodley has no power. So, it's just business for me. Business goes on as usual. I'll just keep getting better here at American Top Team. And there's not a man alive that can beat me, so I'm not really too worried. So
why do you think the UFC and Dana White lied to you?
Why do I think what?
The UFC and Dana White lied to you, as you just said.
I'm not sure. I've done everything they've asked me to do. I've flown over to countries. I went to Australia and sold their show, and they never even paid me to go over there when they promised me they were going to pay me. So they've lied to me before, and I'm sure this won't be the last time they lie to me again. So, I don't know why they're lying to me. Why do you think they're lying to me? Would you have any reason why they're lying to me?
I don't know. Listen, I'm the last person to ask about any of that, but I'm curious about what you just said. They told you that we'll pay you to go out and be sort of, a guest fighter, I think they call it, right? In Australia, that's the infamous card where you and Verdum got into a thing. They said, we'll pay you, and you were expecting to get paid, and you never got paid for that.
Yep. They said that they'd pay me as a guest fighter to come out there. I mean, I brought national headlines to their show, Ariel. That little beef with me and Verdum, the national headlines in Australia, all the news was picking up on it. It became a very well-sold show because of me, because of my name and what happened there. And they didn't pay me a single dollar. All they did is send me home right away. They sent me on a flight to Australia. It was about a 24-hour flight. And then I had to leave on a day's notice after I sold their show and no pay. And then all of a sudden, they want to blackball me and they want to act like I'm the bad guy.
Oh, so did they not pay you because of that incident?
Yeah, they didn't pay me because of that incident.
Okay. All right. But, I mean, so much has happened since then. How do we go from going to the White House with Dana White, where it seems like you're the best of friends, to this? I don't get it. Like, once you went to the White House, I thought, all right, this is fait accompli. You are getting that title shot. This is too big of an opportunity to pass up. How do we go from that to where we are today?
To be honest, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I've been willing and ready to fight every time. The only time that I wasn't ready to fight was back in September in Dallas because I had to get a nasal surgery. I went to UFC doctors. I didn't go to my doctors, Ariel. I went to the UFC doctors. And they were pressuring me. No, you got to fight on 6 weeks' notice. You got to fight Woodley in Dallas, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden, Dana changed his tone once he heard from the UFC doctors that no, he's in no shape to fight. He's in no condition. He has mucus. He's swallowing mucus into his lungs. He can't breathe out of his lungs because there's so much mucus drainage in his nose and his septum's completely broken. And I had to get the nasal surgery. So, as soon as that happened, he changed his tone. He was like, oh, yeah, the UFC doctors, are not clearing him. So this is a legit injury. I had to go to USADA. I was calling up Jeff Nowitzki. I'm like, Jeff, man, I don't want to pop for anything. I'm not John Jones. I don't cheat and do steroids, but, they're putting me on all these antibiotics. They're putting me on all this different stuff. So I need to get a TUE. And he was like, we were working with USADA hand in hand. And it's not fair to me. That's the only time. So I think they're trying to hold that against me. But But the thing is if they were trying to hold that against me, Ariel, why would they offer me the fight with Tyron Woodley in the Garden in November? Why would they offer me the fight in January in California for Anaheim, which both I accepted? I accepted with Woodley for both fights. I was ready to go. And then now all of a sudden, now they're pulling the fight from me, and they're saying I can't fight in March when Woodley's ready to go in March. It makes no sense to me. They're shitting on me. They're shitting on all their fans. They're doling their product. And if they want to give the fans a shittier version of their product and the fans just go along with it and think, oh, it's the UFC product, so it's got to be the best, then whatever, then no big deal. You can water down your business and continue to shit on your fans.
Okay, and have you asked them this question? Have you or your management reached out to them once the news came out, or at least once you knew that they were passing you up? Okay, what is going on here, and how do we fix this?
Yeah, I reached out to Dana. I tried to get a meeting with him, a sit-down meeting. He does his meetings with everybody else. He sat down with other guys and tried to talk this through, and that's all I asked for. I just want to sit down with UFC brass, with Dana White, the president of the UFC, and just sort this out, figure out why they're treating me like this, why everything's happened and turned in this direction so fast. It makes no sense. I can understand if it was for business reasons and there was bigger numbers and a bigger fight that's why they're doing this, but that's not that way. I'm the biggest fight in the division. Everybody wants to fight me, Ariel. I could sell against anybody in the division, but, I don't know. I think they're doing just like you said, they're trying to cut their nose to spite their face.
So when you reached out to Dana, did he respond?
No, he no-sold me. He doesn't want to talk to me, but, it's not too hard to find Dana White, so I'm going to get my meeting with him, Ariel. I can promise you that.
Okay, what would you say to him?
I would ask him, why are you screwing me over? Why are you screwing over the fans? Like, if this was the NFL and the Patriots won the AFC championship, you think just because Roger Goodell doesn't like Belichick and Tom Brady that he's not going to let them go to the Super Bowl? Like, let's be honest. They're going to the Super Bowl regardless. It doesn't matter if you don't like them or you don't like me. I earned my right to fight for a title, and you promised me a title shot. Go back and listen to some videos that Dana White was saying after the Darren Till Woodley fight. Oh, Colby's next, 100%. Colby's next. He knew I had a legit surgery and I couldn't fight in Dallas. So, none of this makes sense. And, I mean, just as confused as you are, I'm confused. And I'm sure that all the fans are confused because this is the fight they want. This is the blockbuster main event at welterweight, me versus Tyron Woodley. This has been brewing for such a long time. Since I first trained at ATT and I was beating his ass. And he knows that deep down. He can lie to the media. He can lie to the people. He can't lie to himself. He can't lie to his coaches. They watched me whoop his ass that day.
So the theory that I heard was that it all sort of changed around November 30th. That's when Kamaru Usman fought Rafael dos Anjos. And afterwards, you'll recall Dana White was glowing about his performance. And rightfully so, it was a strong win. And his insistence coming off an injury to come back on short notice to fight you either in Anaheim, to fight you either in Brooklyn. And your, I guess, response was like, no, I'm going to wait for the title shot, is what sort of turned the tables and made them say, you know what, this is the guy that should get the title shot because he wants to fight and Colby's just sitting around waiting for his title shot. Does that sound familiar? Does that seem accurate?
No, it doesn't sound accurate at all. I mean, you got the champion, Tyron Woodley, who wants to fight 6 weeks later in March. Why would you do a fight between two top contenders when the champion's ready 6 weeks later? It makes no sense. I mean, we have to unify the belts. They can say whatever they want. They can't take away this belt. It's the people's championship now. It's America's championship. But this belt needs to get unified. No one beat me for this belt, and there's not a man alive or welterweight on this earth that can beat me for this belt. So, none of those things make sense.
In other words, it feels like you and Tyron, in a way, given the fact that your schedules never aligned, are sort of being punished here. And Kamaru, for being a guy who wants to step up and for being, ready and willing and having the long winning streak, is being rewarded. And you have to sit out. Tyron has to fight because he's the champion. And in the end, you're the one who's really losing out. That's the way I view it from the sidelines. Does that seem like an accurate description of what unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, it seems accurate, but at the end of the day, it's not fair.
Oh, I'm not saying it's fair. By the way, accurate and fair are two different things. I'm just saying that's how I am trying to almost rationalize their thinking, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, if I'm being honest. I said it a few times. Kamaru is a little bit mad at me if I'm being 100% transparent, because he's saying that, I'm campaigning for you. I'm not campaigning for you. I think that when someone gets an interim title shot and wins that belt, all of a sudden you have to unify the titles. I mean, that's the whole point of putting in the interim belt, right?
Exactly. That's the whole reason. I told the UFC as soon as I walked out of the cage in Chicago, Ariel, after I won this belt, that, hey, I'm getting surgery. The minute I walked out of the cage, I'm getting surgery. I'm not going to be healthy and ready to fight until November. My body, all I need is 4 months. All I need is 4 months. That's it, to get my body healthy, to get my lungs breathing, to get my nose figured out so I can breathe right. I mean, I wasn't even fighting Rafael dos Anjos at 100%. I've been fighting as a weaker version of myself, but I did it because I knew back then I had to take the risk. The risk to reward equated to itself. Now the risk to reward doesn't make sense. I've already won a belt. I've already made a good amount of money. So, I don't need to go out there and risk my health to go, do something for the UFC, because they're not rational. They don't do anything. They say, oh, do us a favor, we'll repay the favor. Who have they ever repaid the favor for? They don't do anything for anybody. And I know I can't fight on every card, and I know they want me to fight on every card, but they need to start going down the line and look at some of the other champions. Where's Max Holloway been? Where's Rose Namajunas been? I mean, come on, they want to punish me, but what about the other fighters? Like, there's 10 other people that are champions or whatever. So why don't you go try and get them to book them to fight?
And to be clear, you're 100% ready to go for March 2nd. You would have been okay fighting on that card.
Oh, yeah, I would have been 100% ready. I was 100% ready for Anaheim, January 20, whatever it was, until they canceled the show.
Right.
So, I've been 100% ready since the new year. I was ready for the Garden in November. I was going to fight Woodley, and then they even offered me Nick Diaz. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make sense for me to fight him. He's an easy fight. But if this is going to save your show, I'm willing to fight him for you guys, to make you guys money.
It's a fascinating thing because, and I know I'm not breaking news to you, you are not the most well-liked fighter in the UFC. People love to boo you. Yet in a weird way, I feel like they've just turned you into a babyface. They've turned you into a sympathetic babyface. Like, now I look at all the comments and people feel bad for you. In a million years did I ever expect to read people actually feeling bad for you, feeling that you have been wrong. But I think that's what happened here. How do you feel about that? And have you noticed the same phenomenon?
I haven't noticed it yet, but people can relate to my situation. I've worked hard for something. I've earned something. I put in the time. I've been grinding since I was 7 years old, Ariel. This is a lifetime of work. So for someone to take something away from me that I earned, it's not fair. And from a guy to Dana White who's going out there trying to bury my name, saying, "Oh, nothing's guaranteed in life." Dana, let's talk, buddy. There's a lot of things guaranteed. Death and taxes are guaranteed. Your golden parachute's guaranteed, Dana. Your paycheck's going to clear this week with the UFC, Dana. So there's a lot of guarantees in life, Dana.
Yeah. So right now, like, has this taken away your love of the sport? Like, how do you feel? You mentioned politics. It feels like, and it's somewhat ironic for someone who's talked about politics a lot over the past year. You're now a victim of politics. Has this ruined your love for the sport?
Not at all, Ariel. It's only made me more passionate. Things like this, I've always loved things like these trying times, these downs in the road. It makes the ups that much sweeter, and it's just back to the drawing board for me. I'm just, I'm not sitting around just partying with chicks all the time. I'm in the training room in American Top Team, improving, getting better. So this is only driving me, my love for the sport, to go to new heights. I'm going to be that person that they wish they would have gave that title fight. And, I'm going to be the biggest draw there ever was in fighting. I'm not just saying the UFC. If I'm somewhere else, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be in the UFC. I don't need the UFC. The UFC needs me.
How would the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, what would he think if he found out that you didn't get a title shot? After all that, the photo op, the belt on his desk. I mean, have you given him a call? Have you asked for his 2 cents?
I haven't given him a call yet, but I know that he would be pissed. He he doesn't like lying to the people. You don't lie to the people, and also his biggest slogan, his biggest phrase is promises made, promises kept.
Right.
Dana White promised me title shot after title shot after title shot. And here we are today. I have no title shot. They're passing up for a guy that just beat my sloppy seconds, a guy that hasn't even beat a guy in the top 10 coming off a win. He beat 2 guys that are shell of their former selves because I retired those guys, because I left those guys in pool of blood. So, it doesn't make sense, and I'm pretty sure, Mr. Dom would agree with me.
I heard that they want to do you versus Darren Till in London on March 16th. Is that accurate?
No, not accurate.
No, they haven't talked to you about that?
No. Unless they're calling me with a title shot, I ain't got nothing to say to them. I don't need them. They want to release me. It's not a big deal to me.
Okay, so you're going to wait for the winner. That's your plan.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. That's what I earned. Let's be honest. Both these scrubs that are fighting in this title fight, they both want to fight me. They can agree on that. They know I'm the bigger fight of the division. So I sell with anybody in the welterweight division. I'm the marquee. I'm the docket. Everybody wants to see me fight, Ariel. So, I'm going to wait to get what I deserve and what I earned. I'm not taking anything less. I'm not fighting guys coming off losses. I'm not fighting anything less than what I deserve. And that's a title fight. I already got a title. So, it's not a big deal. If they want to hold out on me, no big deal. I'll find something else to do. I've already created my brand and who I am. I can go do anything, Ariel. I go to WWE. I can go, to Hollywood. I can go start doing cameos and stuff like Tyron Woodley. I can go start talking about the Kardashians on TMZ. I'll start doing that shit. Start talking about what all these A-list celebrities are wearing each day.
Are you going to go to UFC 235?
Nah, it's a waste of my time, dude. It's a joke. Those guys, it's going to be a boring fight. It's just, no one wants to see that, dude. Like, it's a joke. Everybody knows. Look at the fans, man. You did your poll. Everybody did the polls. No one wants to see that fight. Everybody wants to see me fight. So whether to win or lose, it's all the same thing. People were tuning in to see me fight. So, I don't got any interest in going to see that fight. It's a joke. It's 2 jobbers fighting for a belt that's an imaginary belt. So it's a paper title.
Do you have a rooting interest? In other words, do you hope Tyron wins so you can finally settle the score, or do you hope Usman wins so that you can settle the score with him? Because you kind of have 2 things going on here. It's good to have options.
Yeah, it's good to have options, but I gotta settle the score with I got unfinished business with Woodley, man.
Yeah.
This has been brewing for so long, Ariel, since the first day we trained at ATT. He's known who his alpha is. He knows who his daddy is. So I'm not gonna be happy until I finish that, but. There's other big fights out there. There's a guy from Canada who beat the shit out of him, that's in another organization. And, he has a claim to be the number 1 guy in the world right now. So the number 1 welterweight. So, the options are plenty for me. I have decisions and choices to make. And if they want to start threatening me that, you don't take fights, that doesn't go here, let me go then, man. If I'm not if you don't see the value in me. Hey, Ariel, they were trying to cut me after the Damian Maia fight. That's how stupid the UFC is. They wanted to cut me after the Damian Maia fight. They said, no matter what happens in the fight, we're cutting you.
Why?
What happened? We're here today. I got an interim title. I fought RDA.
Why did they want to cut you?
Because they said that I wasn't a draw and I wasn't entertaining and they had no use for me. That was their quote unquote.
Wow. So you're saying, hey, let me go. I'll go to Bellator and fight Rory McDonald. That's essentially what you just said, right?
I'm essentially saying I'll go fight anywhere. I don't need. I'll go fight, with a mop. I could build a fight with a mop. It doesn't matter who I fight. Everybody'd be more interested in me fighting a mop than they will with anything Tyquil Woodley does. Right. So, I'm just saying, just let me fight. Let me do what I want to do, but don't try and control me, because you're not going to control me. I'm not the guy that you say jump and I say how high. I'm not that guy. Tyron Woodley, he's your guy.
Is this fixable, the relationship between you and the UFC, or have they done irreparable harm in your opinion?
There's no friends in business. This is business now. So, I never came here to be Dana White's friend. I didn't come here to be friends with anybody in the UFC. I came here to do business. Money speaks and money talks. So until I see some big numbers around my paycheck, then I don't got nothing to say to them. But, this should be a lesson to a lot of the other fighters, Ariel. Whether all these fighters are laughing at me at home and like, oh, ha, ha, Colby got screwed. Oh, I'm so happy. Dude, I went to the White House. I did something that you guys will never, ever do and something that's never been done before in the sport. I have a belt. Dana White put a belt around my waist. If you think in your position like you're better or you're going to change something, no. Look at what they're doing to me now. You don't think they're going to do the same to you guys in the future? Like, You guys got to stand up for yourselves. Otherwise, you're just going to get used and abused and thrown to the back of the line and out to the, to nowhere land.
Do you regret any decision that you made? Like in hindsight, do you feel like you could have done things differently?
Nope, I don't regret any decisions, Ariel. I've showed up for the UFC every time they needed me to show up. Never turned down one fight. Never hit no pregnant ladies when I was driving and then hit and run. Never failed a steroid test. Never missed weight. Complete professional on fight week. Always did everything. Always on time. I don't regret one thing. I'm the ultimate company man.
And let's just say this fight happens in March. Very good chance, the winner doesn't return in a month or so. That will mean you will be out for at least a year since your last fight. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm 30 years young, Ariel. I'm just getting started. I haven't even reached my full potential. You see in every fight that I fight, I continue to get better every single fight. So, however long it takes, it doesn't matter. Time's on my side. Time's not on Tyron Woodley's side. We got unfinished business. We need to settle this, but time's not on his side. Father Time's catching up to him quick. So time's on my side. However long it takes to make this right, I'm willing to wait. And it's only going to be worse for these guys. There's not a man alive that can beat me right now in the world. As time goes by, it's only going to get worse.
Any final message for the UFC?
Fuck you, UFC.
Colby, I appreciate this. Thanks. Thanks for coming on. I'm sorry it happened this way, but good luck with how it all plays out.
Don't feel sorry for me, Ariel. Feel sorry for all the people, all the fans. That's all the people that you got to feel sorry for.
All right. There he is, Colby Covington. As you can see, still with his interim title. Upset that he is not getting a title shot at UFC 235, March 2nd in Las Vegas. In the end, it goes to Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman versus Tyron Woodley. By the way, interesting to note, you don't see the Trump paraphernalia there in that interview. I thought that was interesting to observe. Okay, let's turn our attention to January 19th. One of the big fights on the card. It was supposed to take place on that card in Anaheim. Got moved back a week after the card got canceled. Joanne Calderwood going up against Ariel Helwani. She joins us now, Joanne, that is, via the magic of Skype. There she is. Bad mofo JoJo herself. How are you, Joanne?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Can I ask you a favor?
Yep.
Could you just pan up the camera just... There we go. That's perfect.
Okay.
Your future is so bright. You have now it's too high actually. Now we see like just your forehead. Now a little
Maybe
bit.
I'll just hold it.
Okay, sure. That's all. Your future is so bright. You have to wear sunglasses.
I'm in Vegas.
Look at you. You're a real Vegas girl now.
It's pretty cold here.
Okay.
But I just arrived at the gym.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for squeezing us in before training. Okay, we have a lot to discuss. First off, were you familiar with Ariel before you accepted this fight?
No, I hadn't heard of her. And yeah, when I got the name and the confirmed bout, I went on and stalked her a little bit and found out more about her.
What did you learn?
She's a striker. Good fight for me. And yeah, she likes to fight.
Yeah, I think she calls herself the violence queen.
Yeah, which makes a perfect matchup.
Okay.
Between me and her. I've been calling it the bad mofo versus violence queen.
All right. Yes, I like that. They should put that on the poster. That's good. And of course, she's a former champion for KSW, highly touted prospect coming out of Europe. So I think a lot of people, this is a great fight between two European fighters taking place in Brooklyn, of course, and they had to move it back a week. Were you okay with that?
Yeah. I didn't mind. Like, I feel like this is better because it's on ESPN and everyone's going to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was when it was matched, I was like, when the fight show was announced, I was like, oh, I would rather be on that. But then I was matched for LA a week after, and then I guess my prayers were answered.
Yes, incredible. Yes, you will be a part of history because you'll be on the ESPN main card, which is technically the prelims, but you're going to be on ESPN television, correct?
I'll be on ESPN, not ESPN plus one.
Yeah. This is very exciting stuff. Okay, so that is historic because there's never been a UFC card on ESPN before. And you're fighting at 125. You obviously feel very comfortable at 125. It's part of JoJo 2.0, part of your move to Las Vegas. Now I have to ask, you're a part of Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
And I can't say, and stop me if you feel otherwise. I can't say that I'm prying, but any sort of, person with 2 cents in their brain could tell that you're in love these days. Things are good for Joanne, right? You're in a relationship, right?
Yeah, I am.
With a notable figure in the sport.
Yeah. And I guess like I had worked on a lot of stuff before coming here, and I feel like I started loving myself and I sorted a lot of stuff out. And now I'm like, everything that happened before was like, it put me on the path to come here. And then when I came here, just everything started falling into place. And yeah, I'm really happy. And yeah, I'm in love.
Yes. So you're in a relationship with John Wood, who's one of the very best MMA coaches in the game from Syndicate. Could I ask how this came about? Because it's not a thing that you see every day, right? I mean, it's a unique thing to happen in mixed martial arts, to have the coach and the fighter in a relationship like this, later, not from the early stages. Like we saw with Pat Barry and Rose, of course, but this is something you've been around the sport a long time.
Yeah, and with me being in the sport, like I don't do anything other than this sport. So I guess it's inevitable that I would meet someone in the sport. So it's not the first time that this has happened, but I feel this is the last time, and I've finally met my true match.
Your soulmate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for you. It's great to see. Now, is it hard to separate normal life from the fighting career because you're both so entrenched in it?
No, and if that was the case, then this wouldn't be happening.
Okay.
Like I take my career and everything that comes along with it very serious, and he's the same. So that's also what drives me towards him, that he has the same goals as me and we can separate the two.
Okay, so when you get home, no more talking about fights.
Well, we still watch a lot of the UFC and study a lot together, so I guess we do still have a lot of that in common, but we can switch off as well.
And he'll be cornering you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so have you moved to Las Vegas? Is this your full-time home?
Yeah, I'm not a resident yet, but that is the plan.
Okay. And what about the transformation? Because you're also still working at the PI, correct?
Yeah. The PI is like 5 minutes in the drive.
Oh, wow.
In the car. Like it only takes me 5 minutes to get over there.
So you feel like it's all coming together here for you. You've got the PI there. You've got the syndicate team there. You've got your head coach is your partner in crime now in life. I mean, it's all the stars are aligning for you here. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. Last year was a big confidence boost to getting everything in the line and all my shit together.
Does it feel like it's been a while that everything has been sort of aligned going into a fight like this? Like I feel like there's always been something going on with you, and now, at least on the surface, we don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes. It feels like everything's going really well. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps, and I feel like there's always something going on, like in everyone's life, not just the fighters, because us as fighters, we express what's going on. So I feel like this is just life in general, and I am very happy and everything's going well, but there's still the odd little thing, and that is just life. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm learning to roll with it.
Okay. I'm assuming you saw the title fight back in early December?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think?
It was great. And when it got matched, I was really excited because obviously the background of those girls, and I feel like for the division, that's an exciting champion, whoever got it.
So if you win this fight, that will be 3 wins at 125 in the UFC, correct?
Yep. 3 stoppages.
3
I'm going for a stoppage.
Okay.
Helwani.
I appreciate that. Jessica I has the most, right? 3, but they're decision wins, and she's very vocal about being next. Do you think that a stoppage win would vault you over her? Like, in other words, should you be next if you finish Ariane in a couple of weeks?
For sure. And you know, the UFC work like that. They
Yeah.
want to see stoppages and exciting fights. They don't want you to take it to the judges, and that's always been the case. So yeah, I do think I've got a case for them when I stop Ariel. So yeah, we'll see what happens, and maybe they'll put me and Jessica I together, or they'll just make me jump the ladder. So we'll see. Wait and see.
It's very reminiscent of what just happened between Anthony Smith and Corey Anderson, both on the same winning streak. Anthony Smith, though, all stoppages. Corey Anderson, decisions, and they went with Anthony Smith.
Yep, and that's like what I said. Like, that's the way the sport goes now. People want to see stoppages and dominant performances. So yeah, I'm looking for that stoppage.
Do you feel like this division saved your career? In like it just would, you know, you're enjoying all this and a lot is what's happening in your personal life. But had they never introduced this division, your career would be in a totally different place. You'd be struggling. You'd be unhealthy. All these other bad things.
I feel like the PI has saved my career because I've came here and they've told me, like, oh, you're definitely in the flyweight division. So I'm guessing, like, if I came here and I was still in the strawweight, they would help me to be a strawweight fighter.
Oh.
I've came here and they've told me, yeah, you're definitely a flyweight fighter, and this is the way we're going to go about your camp, your nutrition, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really grateful for that, because before I was just winging it and I was going to whoever could help me, or towards the end of my career I was actually trying to pay people to give me a plan and stuff, and I probably should have done it earlier, but you know, money's tight when you're a fighter and you don't feel like you deserve that kind of investment in yourself.
Sure, that luxury.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so now here we are. You're about to fight on this card against a fellow European. Everything's going really well. The title is finally in good hands, right? There's a champion. There's something to shoot for. Do you feel in your heart in 2019 is the year Joanne Calderwood finally becomes a UFC champion? Do you feel like it's all coming together for you here?
Yeah, I do, and I've got so much confidence behind me. I believe in myself, and before, like, I was still performing, I was still a good fighter, but now, like, everything is together, and I'm acting like a true professional, I'm training like a true professional, and there's no excuses. And yeah, I just believe that everything's going to be getting better, and the only way is up now. Confidence
is just a word, but to hear you say it, I know someone who's struggled with that, and you've been open about that. It's an amazing thing to hear you say, I have so much confidence. You know what I mean? Because it's not something that you've said in the past. So congratulations on that. Just to be able to say that, I'm sure feels really good.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like when I watch my fights back. I had a lot of confidence that I knew I could go in there and bang, but a lot of it was the mentality behind it, with the fight camp and the lead up to it. I knew I was, like, after a fight camp, I would balloon up too much over my fight weight. So that guilt was always in the back of my head. So now I feel like I'm not concentrating on that, and I know I'm doing everything right. I know I'm not taking any shortcuts, and I know my lifestyle as a professional athlete now.
You noted before your last fight that you were in the best shape, and it was very clear you had abs and all that stuff. You were very proud of that. Is it possible for this fight you'll be even in better shape?
Yeah, this one, and then the next one, I've only been at the PI now. It's coming up in a year, so I don't know if everyone out there knows that if they're going through a body transition, like how long it takes. It's not a few weeks. It's like a few months, close to a year. So I still don't feel like my body's in the best shape it can be.
Okay. But the weight cuts are amazing, right?
Oh, yeah. My last weight cut was amazing. I was like not even stressing about it, and it was a big, big help.
Like when you check in on Tuesday, what do you weigh?
I'm only 10 pounds over.
Oh, wow.
And this one I'll actually be a lot less.
And when
And that's mostly like water and the stuff that you could take off for the last week.
And when you were at strawweight, what were you checking in at?
For my last strawweight fight, I was like 12 pounds over, but I had not been. I was kind of winging the last week, and then the whole fight camp I was winging it as well. I was like not putting the right nutrition into my body, and it showed because when I tried to weight cut, it was like, no, it's not coming out. We need this.
Okay, all right. You said you're going for the finish. You want 3 straight finishes so that it really cements you as the top contender. What kind of finish are we thinking about here?
I don't want to disappoint my fans and get another submission win, but I've been seeing that maybe it's going to go there. It just depends. Like the last fight, I thought it was going to be a stand-up war, and now I'm thinking this one's going to be it, and it could be me landing on my back and getting another submission.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I'm just ready for everything.
And by the way, a part of this new Joanne JoJo 2.0, does that mean no more shaved head on the side and all that? What are we doing?
No, I'm going to shave it.
Okay, all right. I thought you got all like, suburbs on us, American
I've just
suburb.
not found a great girl that can shave it. The girl in Glasgow is awesome. And I've just not found anyone in Vegas that can do what she done.
Right, yeah. So you don't want to just like any Joe Schmo do it, right?
Yeah, in most places that I've looked at, they just do fades or boring designs.
Well, let me tell you, Brooklyn, they got a lot of great barbers in Brooklyn. I feel like
maybe I should just wait till fight week.
You're like in the mecca of great barbers.
I have a question. Are you going to be there?
I will be there.
Maybe we should go together.
Oh, that'd be fun. Get a haircut together. I have a great streak of not going to your fights, so I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like it's been a while since I've actually been to one of your fights, live and in person. It just occurred to me. You can't give me crap for this. This is great.
I won't. It'll be good to see you.
It will be good, yes. And I like that idea of a haircut, or at least witnessing, because I'm always so curious how they do it with the designs and all that stuff. I have a weird fascination with barbers. Like sometimes I go on Instagram and actually just look at barbers' designs and things like that. It's a little weird. I don't know if you do the same?
Usually just fight week when I'm thinking about what kind of design I want.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Now the wheels are turning. All right, I'll get back to you on that. Joanne, always good to talk to you. I'm very happy for you. Happy New Year. I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. Good luck in the last week or so, and good luck in the fight.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well.
All right. Thank you very much. There she is. JoJo 2.0, the great, the pride of Scotland, the pride of Glasgow. Joanne Calderwood. She meets Ariel Helwani on the January 19th card on the ESPN prelims, which are historic. Early prelims on ESPN Plus, middle prelims on ESPN Television, and then main card prelims on ESPN Plus. So very unique, but of course ESPN Plus such a big deal. That's where the main event is. That's where the main card is. that's where we want you to eventually end up as a viewer. But this fight is going to be on the television prelims, and the headliner for that is Donald Cerrone versus Alex Hernandez. Later on in the program, of course, we'll be talking to Alex the Great Hernandez. All right. In a matter, and by the way, wouldn't that be fun? Get a haircut with Joanne Calderwood. What do you say, Corporate Jake?
Love it.
He loves it. He signed off. We're doing it. All right. Matter of seconds, we're going to be joined in studio by Corey Anderson. And I just mentioned Corey in the interview with Joanne. Yesterday we found out UFC is going with Anthony Smith versus John Jones on March 2nd, UFC 235. Not quite 100%, but it appears to be a formality at this point. John has the hearing on January 29th in Nevada. And once that's a go, gets his license, that'll be a go. And then the co-main event is Woodley versus Usman. So Corey Anderson not getting that title shot. He was campaigning for it. So I want to talk to him about that and so much more. He is kind enough to be joining us in studio right now. The great Corey Anderson is here. What's up, Corey? Please have a seat. And I appreciate you making the trek, my man. Get comfortable. Your lovely wife is here. Hello. I understand she's pregnant, right?
Yes, sir.
Getting close, correct?
2 months, 2.5 months.
Oh, my. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Your first one, correct?
Yes, sir. I like what Joe was saying.
Okay, well, if you don't mind just getting a little close, let me help you here. What did Joe say?
On after the fight, he was saying, well, me and John had a mix-up. He was saying, oh, Corey has a 3-year-old, and his wife is due with their second one here in a couple months. But nope, it's our first child.
Okay, that's a pretty big mistake to make.
Yeah. Well, I was telling John we had been together 3 years, and we're having our first.
Okay,
I think he misunderstood it on the phone and said his 3-year-old.
Okay. Are you nervous?
No.
Not
I'm
at
excited.
all. You're excited?
Yeah.
This is something you always wanted. You wanted to be a dad.
Something I always wanted,
Okay.
but, you know, since I got a little older and got a girlfriend and got married, it was something I was really looking forward to. Starting my own family and sharing the things, the wisdom my father showed me and all the hard work I know, teaching it to the youth. So
now, do we know the sex?
Yes, it's a boy.
It's a boy. Wow. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about it. Excited. Get him. If you want to join wrestling, whatever it is, I just want to be there as that father, supportive, and see him do what I did and like my father did for me.
So you're not going to push him to be a fighter, be a wrestler?
I'm not going to push him to do anything. You know, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to be there and support him.
Would you, like, do you want, you know, the life that you have, do you want your child to have that life? Is this the life that you would recommend? I
would love for my child to be a wrestler,
okay,
but I would not want him to be a fighter.
Interesting. Why?
I mean, I tell people all the time when they ask me for advice, I say, don't do it. I mean, fighting is a great, like I tell people all the time, if I could, I wouldn't be fighting. I would go back and be a college wrestling coach. That was my dream job. But the money didn't match up equivalent to what I make in fighting, you know. I make a good living in fighting where I can just do this and train, which is what I love to do. And wrestling, I was making like $220 a week and just working other jobs just to make ends meet. But I loved it. It was satisfying for me to have kids say, Coach, because of you, I did this. That was what fulfilled me the most. But trying to balance the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter training and all that, and coach, it just wasn't. I couldn't give it my all and make the money I needed to make. So
if you reach like a top level D1 school, that job you can do full time, right?
Yeah.
But there's only a few of those great jobs
out there, right?
Yeah, so
a few of those to get that head coaching position where you're making that Cael Sanderson money, where he signed for like $5.5 million for 4 years back in like 2012. So,
wow.
Yeah.
When you're done fighting, are you going to try to go back to that?
Oh, 100%. I already got my exit plan, the business plan, everything going.
Really?
I already got a job set up and waiting and everything.
Where is it?
So Marion College, where we used to coach at Lincoln College. He left and started his own program in Indianapolis. It's like a 2-year program now. And I already talked to him. He said, if you're ready, if you want, and you come back, I got a job for you. I always got a job for you. We work good together. So I plan on going right back there, starting my gym in Indiana, and just help him out on the other end.
So since you have the exit plan, like, do you know when you want to stop? Do you have an age?
Yeah.
Wow, you got it all figured out.
Everything.
What age?
So I got a business degree, so I never wanted to be a fighter, you know. Fighting was just something when I was coaching Mark Fiore and Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes went to Lincoln College as well. And the first day I showed up to coach, Mark Fiore was there, and I was training at Rufus Sport and was Milwaukee after college. And he said, you got any interest to keep going? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, come to my gym, gave me his card. I went out there, and he told me, like, bro, you're going to be good. You can fight. And they ended up giving me my first fight, and that was it. But the plan is when I started at 23, I said 31. So by the time I was into 31, I wanted to be done.
Okay.
You know, my mom, it was more my mom pushed it on me because she hated it. And now I'm at the point where I'm going to have a family and all that. You know, I see fighters. I know guys that are in it with their family, they're away from home, and the damage to the brain, I know what it does to the body. I don't want that. You know, like I said, I've been competing since I was in 3rd grade. I'm young enough. I have all my fight money has been saved. I don't spend my fight money. I work and teach classes to pay bills. So the plan is when I walk away, I'm not going to be hurt and have to go back and fight. I can start my other ventures and just veer off and be healthy, be there for my family, my wife, my kids, and there for the more kids we're going to have.
Wow, 31. That's young. Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 29.
So that's it? 2 more years?
Gotta wait and see.
You know, MMA retirements, no one sticks to them. I don't even think DC's going to stick to his. 40 years old.
Like I said, fighting ain't something I want to do. It's just something I was good at.
Do you
know?
enjoy it? Like, do you enjoy the process?
I love it. I love waking up every morning, go to the gym, bright and early or dark and early. You can say heading there. I love it. Nothing, having my shake and just listen to music, know what I'm going to do today. 3-4 workouts, just thinking about it. That's what I live for. Okay. But at the same time, like I said, I don't want to keep beating my body up. I'm so beat up already. I'm 29, and I've been hurting since I was like 25. It's just... It's tough, but I'm going to keep doing it while I can. I'm always do it the best of my ability. Like I said, my plan of leaving isn't because, I'm tired, I'm done with it. It's just I want to save my body for my family. I don't want to be that guy slurring later on in life. I don't want to not be able to play catch with my kids anymore because my shoulders are so bad I can't throw the ball. You know, I'm already at the point where my shoulders are effed up. So I'm just trying to save myself.
So the story that I read was that Ben Askren is the one responsible for all of this. Is that accurate?
Ben Askren is responsible for me fighting. He's responsible for me and my wife and me.
What?
He's responsible for all that, yeah.
Wow.
Well, he got me to Rufus Sport, and she was the front desk lady at Rufus Sport. And
oh, my gosh.
Here we are now in New York.
Okay, so where did you see Ben Askren?
He used to come coach with Whitewater, University of Wisconsin Whitewater is where I went to school my senior year. Okay. And the coach got a hold of him somehow, and they had him coming in to work with us like once a week. And I used to wrestle with Ben, and after I was wrestling with Ben training for the Olympics. And one day he sent me an address. I thought I was going to a wrestling gym, but it ended up being Rufus Sport. And I walked in. The guys were sparring. Anthony Pettis was there doing like a picture. I think it was a thing like UFC magazine, jumping off the fence, doing pictures for that. He had Sergio, it was Pascal Cruz, whatever his name was, Eric Koch, Duke Root, all these different guys there. And Ben walks off from teaching wrestling class, and he was like, "Did you bring your gear?" I just got my shorts and my wrestling shoes and stuff. What's up? Like, yeah, well, I want you to try something else. I want you to try sparring, try MMA today. And if you don't like it, you ain't got to do it. We go back to wrestling. But I think you'll like it. I think you'll be good at it. I didn't do it that day. I ended up just sitting there and watching. And I'm the type, like, I don't like passing opportunities. So all night I beat myself up. Like, I gotta go back. I got to go back. So next morning, it was like an hour and 45 minutes from where my parents lived. And I jumped on my motorcycle and head up to Milwaukee at like 9. I got there at 9 o'clock in the morning. Rufus Duke opened the door. I was like, "Oh, he came back." Like, yeah, I just want to try. Is that good? Because they sparring day.
Oh, my.
I had a pair of like old beat up title gloves, and he gave me some shin pads, mismatched shin pads, and Ben Askren's old headgear, and that's all it was.
And you sparred?
I sparred.
Without any knowledge?
My first round, I think it was Ben Askren. I went with Ben. He went light. Then he had me go with Anthony Pettis just so I can feel what a leg kick was like. He kept kicking the hell out of my leg, and that hurt. I remember my leg being hurt for like 3 weeks. Like, I couldn't walk straight. Like, what in the world? He's like, "Do what you do." "What do you do?" I was like, "I wrestle." He's like, "Take him down. You can do that." After I took him down, "You too big." And he gave me a heavyweight. And I remember taking him down, just ground and pound the hell out of him. He said, "I don't care what you say, Corey. You say you're not a fighter. You don't want to fight, but you're a fighter. Like, you can be good at this. Like, you naturally just did pretty well. If you stick to it, you can be well." He said it in 3 fights. You can be in the UFC. I've seen it happen before. And in 3 fights, I was on the Ultimate Fighter. And
wow, that is wild.
Yeah.
And you came back after all that.
I came back. Like I said, once I started, I never wrestled in a singlet again. I didn't compete for wrestling again. I missed the trials, the Junior Olympic trials that was coming up. I missed that, and that was it. I'll never.
Why would you drop that dream for this new thing?
It was just weird. It was, like I said, I didn't intend to drop it. I was still training and wrestling.
Yeah.
But like after I missed that trials, the next one wasn't for a while. I ended up leaving to go coach college wrestling. And when I got down there, it was more coaching than competing. Yeah, I couldn't compete the way I wanted to compete as a wrestler in practice and coach kids. It's hard to teach a practice and wrestle at the same time. I got to watch and make sure my kids are doing the right thing. But I trained on the outside of the practice times, like fighting in the mornings, and I go back at night. So I had more time to dedicate to that than I did wrestling. And before you know it, I got my first fight and just kept going with it.
Do you regret not going for the trials?
No.
No.
I don't have any regrets in my life, to be honest. You know, everything I've done, even the bad and the sad things I did back when I was young, like a little fat, lazy kid, even I don't regret those things. 'Cause if I would have pushed myself hard like I do now back then, I don't think the fire in me would be as lit as it is now.
Sure. Were you a troublemaker?
No, I was never a troublemaker. I was just a lazy kid. You know, I was 300 pounds at one point.
No way.
Yeah. My dad had to drop me off at the football field, tell me he was taking me to a meeting, and drop me off at the practice field for me to go play football in high school, and just left me there, and I ended up playing football all through high school. I wrestled since 3rd grade, but I was just there because my friends did it, you know. It's like all my friends wrestled, so I wanted to wrestle. My big brother wrestled. I did everything he wanted to do. But the passion was never there to be like the best on the team.
Right.
I just knew every day, 2:30 and 3:15, I go to practice and we wrestle. You know, but I was never sitting at the front paying attention to what the coach was saying, like, oh, that seems pretty cool, asking questions. You know, I'd go jack around with my friends just to be there. But then after an injury, my sophomore year, I broke my leg, and going to my junior year, I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of just being here, getting hurt and being somebody's practice dummy. I'm going to try. You know, if I try, I wonder what happened. And like the coach said, it's night and day. Like you're pretty good. You've been here your whole life. You just never applied it. And then after that, I never made it to the state tournament in high school. And I thought that was it for my wrestling. And the coach, Dave Clem, called me. Like, Corey, I heard about your work ethic and your mentality, and I want somebody like you on my team. Like, I give you like $1,800. You come here and you walk on, and we go from there. And that's been it. That guy gave me an opportunity. Dave Clem, the same guy that gave Matt Hughes a chance when he left Eastern Illinois. There's a few guys that fought in the UFC from there. What's his name? Matt. He fought Frank Yeager.
Matt Veach.
Matt Veach, yeah. So quite a few guys that Clem gave an opportunity. And I met all those guys through him after when I started training. And like I said, call him to this day like my pops. I talked to him the other day. He's like a father to me because of him, I was granted opportunity, like a second chance to be an athlete again, and I picked it up in college. Like, I could be good. I can work hard. And all through college, I was always ranked in the top 10 or always made it to the national tournament, and I dominated, was always team captain. And like I said, that opened up doors for fighting and everything else in life.
When you say you were 300 pounds as a kid, what age were you?
I was 17 years old, 297.8.
Damn, that's the highest.
That was the highest. I remember was getting ready to go back to school from Christmas break, right before Christmas break or one of them, fall break or something, and we went to my buddy's house. He went to school with me. And he was getting all that stuff ready. His brothers, all the Dwyer brothers, they huge D1 wrestlers, national All-American state champs or whatever, and they all on the scale, got done lifting the weights. And like, Corey, get on the scale. And I remember getting on the scale and that thing, and it kept going up. It went to 297. And it stopped at that point, and they all started laughing, like, damn, bro, you big as hell, blah, blah, blah. You bigger than heavy. And I'm just sitting there looking at the scale like, oh, that's not healthy. I come from an obese family anyway, family that eats soul food and all the extra grease. And it was like, we got to get healthy. Yeah. And after that, I started not even really eating healthy. I was just eating chunky noodle soup and like baked chicken sandwiches from McDonald's, but it was just a difference, and working out a little more, and the weight just started to fall off, and I got addicted to it, staying healthy and training, grinding all the time. I got all the way down to a low of like 199, and it was like that was just too healthy. My body fat was saying you can only get to like 201 and stuff like that, and it was get back up and get healthy at like 220, 230.
So you're introduced to MMA through Rufus Sport. You meet your future wife at Rufus Sport.
Yep.
And then you go. She just worked in the front.
She at the time she was working at the front. Like, people come in and welcome, show them all the different stuff, and then she ended up venturing into fighting. Later on. So,
wow. She's a fighter too.
She used to be.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now she's a mom to be.
Now she's a mom to be.
How'd she do as a fighter?
She did all right.
What was her record?
She don't think she did that well. I think it was like 4-3, whatever, 3-4, 1 or 2.
Okay.
But she wasn't into it as much as I was. Like, it was a hobby more of her. She loved it, but it wasn't like she was able to dedicate her life into it like everybody else, because she worked and did everything else. And then she was kind of like the person that you go to the gym after you're done with work, and you venture into fighting. It's more not like a hobby. You're serious about it, but you never got the opportunity to go full time.
Okay. Then you go on The Ultimate Fighter. You don't go back to Rufus Sport afterwards. No. Why not?
Well, at the time I went to Ultimate Fighter, I was down in Illinois coaching college wrestling.
Okay.
It was my first year when I got the opportunity. And like I said, I didn't even go back to that gym after. When I left, my coaches there told me, like, I'm telling you right now, I already know you're going to go win the show. I remember Bobby Prince telling me, I know you're going to win this show. Your work ethic, nobody can work harder than you. When you're done with it, I don't want you coming back here. There's nothing we can do for you anymore. Like,
Wow.
I'm probably your biggest practice partner, but I got my own family. There's so much going on. You need to go somewhere else where people that can push you to be the best you can in the UFC.
Wow.
Granted, we're going to miss you, but it's what you need to do. I went back just to finish the college career. I made a deal with my heavyweight. You win nationals, and I'm done coaching. You win this national tournament, I'm done coaching. I already knew I was in the finals, but he didn't. And he won nationals, and I told him, it's my turn to keep my goal. I packed my bags, and I was gone. Gave my lease or paid my lease off, whatever, and I packed my bags and was heading to New Jersey.
Wow.
Next thing you know, I pulled up at Frank Yeager's father-in-law's, moved into the attic, and that was it.
You're not still there?
No.
No, okay, now you have your own place.
I can't have a family in the attic.
Sure.
The Russians got it now.
Oh, right. That's right. that attic and that house. So Frankie Edgar's father-in-law, he sort of houses a lot of the new fighters that come to train with Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida, right?
Yes,
it's sort of legendary, like the amount of fighters that have come through there. It's amazing. Does he actually charge you guys? Or
No.
It's unbelievable.
Like I said, in Ultimate Fighter, I thanked him so much. I tell everybody, he's the most generous man in America.
Wow.
Like when I got there, it was me and my brother. We pulled up. It was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning. We pulled up on the 17th. And I called him. He was up waiting. He's like, I give you a quick rundown, blah, blah, blah. The doors never locked. There's a car outside with a key in it if you ever need to use it. The washer's here. There's an extra refrigerator downstairs. Bob, I'm from Brooklyn, so I don't believe in locking the door. If you take something, you're going to take it anyway. If I lock it, you're going to take it. So feel welcome to anything. My wife, she gets up early to go to the job, this and this. Use the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Make yourself at home. I lived there for 8 months. I don't think that guy ever, hassled me. He never came up to check on me. Never asked me where I've been. I come in late, whatever, bring people in. He never questioned anything.
That's unbelievable.
Always kept an open house. And to this day, she moved in. When she came down, she lived there too at first until we got everything figured out. And we go over there now. Door's still unlocked, knock, walk in, and it's like family. Everybody either comes over or we come in and have a party, barbecue, whatever.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you're happy here?
Oh, yes. Very happy.
Okay, and now things are going well. You had, I would say, maybe a difficult 2017. Would it be fair to say that?
A learning 2017. I won't say difficult. It was a good one for me. I needed it.
You had a couple losses there but you were okay. You saw the positives in them, which were
I need to get better. I can continue to grow.
Right.
Just when I got to tell you a story of me growing up wrestling, what not a lot of people don't know, I didn't win. I wrestled since 3rd grade, but I didn't win a match. I was a sophomore year in high school. And I remember after getting knocked out by Jimmy Manuel, and when I came to, I'm in the locker room, and Ricardo said to Corey, how is it that you always so calm after your losses? I would want to kill somebody.
Right.
I said, Professor, when you grew up losing your whole life, you can handle losses like it's nothing. When you grew up losing since you was in 3rd grade, and people telling you to quit, just give it up, blah, 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 you just keep coming back. And when you start winning, you proving them wrong. When you take losses in real life, bumps and bruises, ups and downs, and people get deterred, you don't have that feeling because you felt it for so long. You know what it's like to come back from it. I know where I am now is because of my losses. I wouldn't be in the UFC if I didn't lose. I can tell you that right now. If I didn't lose growing up, I wouldn't be where I am. So taking those losses from Jimmy and OSP, I never even went back and second-guessed it. You can ask me why, I never had a sad moment at home. I was right back in the gym the next day, still laughing, still positive. When I lost in the national finals in college, I laughed on the podium, I smiled. Because if you come from where I come from to be where you are, you're happy with those moments. You just think about it. I can do better. I got here because of my losses. I'm just going to continue to go better.
That's incredible. Incredible life lessons. Yeah. I wish that I had that mentality about things. I don't have any of that.
I mean, a lot of people don't have the mentality I have, but I said, I'm just a little different.
Yeah. Wait, when you say when you come from where I come from, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I was the only black kid in an all-white neighborhood, in an all-white town.
Wow.
So even when I was doing good in sports like football, I was doing good my senior year and whatnot. In junior year, it still took time for me to start because the other kids had, I don't want to say it's racist, but that's just how it was. My brother did it. My sisters did it. We all did it. I knew my brother's probably one of the best running backs in school. But did he get to start? No. There was a kid on my team. He killed everybody on the running back, records, everything. He had all the records with the 3rd string. At the end of the year, he had all the records, all the scores, the yards, everything, but he was 3rd string the whole year.
Wow. But
he was a black kid. It was just the way it was. If we didn't have it. And my father always said that. Yes, Rockton, Illinois, small town. It's changed now. It's more diverse now, but growing up it wasn't. And I remember my father always saying, you got to remember, son, when you're white, you're right. We got to give it 150%, sometimes 200%. You got to go more. Remember, you're not going to get that spot you deserve, but you got to go out there and take it and keep working. And stuff like that. So there's so many life lessons I've had, and along with just losing. When you lose so much, again, that was me. That has nothing to do with racism. But when I came back from losing, I realized that was all just a mentality I had. I wasn't on myself the way I should be. I can work so much harder and push so much harder, and there's so much more I can do. And every time I lose, it's the same way. After Jimmy, same way. I had to do more, get bigger, get stronger. I did that. Came back OSP, got knocked out. And I got to keep my hands up, got to keep moving, keep focused. 15 minutes, can't lose that focus anymore. Got to stay ready. We was winning that fight, but we let it slide at the end. I did that. 2018, I did all 3. I did everything I wanted to do. Yeah. All 3 fights, no problems.
3-0.
3-0.
So you have this great mentality, this great mindset. Fair to say, bit of a chip on your shoulder right now.
Yeah.
You feel like you've been wrong by the likes of me and the UFC. More importantly, the UFC. But first, let's address. You should have been mentioned for most improved and comeback fighter. This is your beef with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. I said at the top of the show I couldn't go through my honorable mentions because we were short on time, but that is 100% fair. You deserve that. You deserve. I mean, it's an amazing turnaround from getting knocked out twice to then going 3-0. Big win a couple of weekends ago. So you 100% deserve that.
Yeah,
so
it's not just the 3-0. It's the two
Sure.
people I beat the last 2. Ariel Latifi, the Sludgehammer. Everybody. If you read social media, did you think I would beat Ariel Latifi? Let's ask that. Did you even think I would beat Ariel Latifi? And be honest, because I don't mind.
I honestly don't make predictions. I swear. I had no problem. I have a lot of respect. Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida.
Don't change the subject. This ain't
Mark
Pino's Pizza right now. This is Ariel Helwani. Did you think I was going to beat Ariel
Yes.
Latifi?
I thought you were going to kick his butt.
No, you don't. It's all right. Because I know a lot of people did.
Were you the underdog?
Huh?
Were you the underdog?
Yes.
Really?
Okay. I mean, we had the same manager. And I know Ali can't say that, but I think in my mind, I didn't think he thought I was going to beat him.
Okay.
Like, when all the stuff was going on with who was going to fight DC, and I seen Ali and the Lyrics hanging out a lot. And it got underneath my skin a little bit. And I was sending messages to people like, you tell Lyrics, I don't care that mentally. Me and him got the same manager. Sign it up. And I remember Ali called me when all that going on, like, don't say anything about you fight a Lear, this and this and this. But I wanted it. I didn't ask for it. But if it happened, I was ready. I wanted to prove, like, I know everybody doubted me. They think I can't beat him. But I can beat everybody in this division. Like, if I go out there and do what I have to do, I can beat everybody in this division. It's just I mess up a lot in the fights, and I give fights away. And all the fights I lost, except for Jimmy Manuel, you can't tell me there was anybody else pushing me around and beating me up. Jimmy Manuel was the only one that he actually beat me because we didn't get a chance for me to get to a point where I started dominating the fight. He caught me early. And I never take that away from Jimmy. He beat me. I will say that. But everybody else, I beat myself.
So when you found out that they went with Anthony Smith, who went 3-1 in 2018 and didn't go with you because you were campaigning for the John Jones fight, what was your reaction?
I mean, it bothered me. I was, like I said, it happened yesterday, and my phone was blowing up. Everybody sending it to me. I was bothered, but I wasn't going to sit there and cry over spilled milk. And I'm that type of, I can sit there and cry about it forever. Like, I posted the stat thing yesterday, and everybody been saying, oh, but they gave to fight him. He deserved to fight more. I never said anything about the title fight. My post wasn't about the title fight. Somebody sent it to me. I just wanted everybody to know. You saying this, you saying that. He's beat the better competition. How he beat the better competition when he beat an unranked guy, number 8 guy, and I said Volcom. Yes, Volcom, I will give him that. Volcom, he beat that. But everybody else, when was the last time you heard Shogun or Rashad and talk for title contention? I'm not taking anything from either of those fighters. Respect them both, especially Rashad being like a big brother to me. He helps me out. He comes to Jersey and helps me with camps. But it's not like he went out there and beat Gus, Volcom, and somebody else and finished them. Then they say, oh, you don't finish people. Okay, Alir Latif been finished from one time, a body shot, and then got knocked out the one time when he shot into a knee. When's the last time Glover's been finished other than Rumble and Gus? It's not like I didn't beat top tier guys, but they made it seem like, oh, you beat some guys that just got signed the week before or something. These are dudes that's been legends. Guys have been trying to get beat. People that want to beat these guys, they can't do it, and I did it. But it seems like every time I beat somebody, they make it seem like, oh, they weren't good. They washed up. And so they're saying, wow, Corey did well. Corey's been working. Corey's improved. Give me that. Don't take away what I've been doing and say this person's washed up. He didn't deserve the shot. Just give me the credit due. If you say, wow, Corey did it, I'll be okay with it. But the fact that they're making it seem like these people are washed up. Think about, I beat Glover. He went from 3rd to 9th. I beat Alir. He went from 5th to 9th. Jan Blachowicz, who I beat my 6th fight ever, he beats Jimmy Manuel after losing to Jimmy and jumps to 3rd, and Jimmy drops to 4th. Anthony Smith beats Volcom, who goes from 2nd to 3rd. Anthony jumps to 2nd. But I beat number 3 and go to 6th, then get dropped down to 10th without losing.
Wow.
Then I beat the number 5, and I go to 6th again. When I beat Fabio Maldonado on a week notice, and he was number 12, I didn't get put in the rankings. Or after I beat Jan Blachowicz on 2 weeks' notice, when he was number 12, I didn't get put in the rankings. They moved him down to 13 and moved Fabio Maldonado to 12th. I beat Fabio Maldonado on a week notice, and then they put me in the rankings. Like, every time I beat somebody ranked, it's kind of like they just dog me out. Instead of saying he beat this person, they just say, oh, that person had an off night, or they're not who they used to be.
Do you think John chose Anthony over you because he thinks that he's the easier fight?
I don't know if it was John or UFC, but I think it was. If it was on either way, I think the UFC took it because he gets the finishes.
Right.
But, okay, well, you got to think about that as well. If he's getting these quick finishes, we don't know what can happen. If he go out there and get finished quick, they're going to be, oh, we should have went with somebody different. You know what I mean? And if John picked it because it was an easier fight, I don't think John would do that. But if he did, he did. I think John likes to challenge himself sometimes. I would think. I don't know him personally. I've never actually had a conversation with him. But I would think being that good, when you're that good and you haven't been beat, you would want to challenge yourself.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean
I was
to
saying, but I could be wrong.
I saw, I think you were talking to TMZ. You said that when you guys flew from Vegas to California, the whole 233 switch, you were actually sitting in back of him on the plane and you were kind of staring at the back of his head the whole time?
Yes.
What were you thinking?
Just think it's time for a change of the torch.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this. We're on this plane. I looked over at my wife, and I could see she was uncomfortable with the baby and everything, and just seeing all the people that's inconvenienced. I could see how the UFC running around, just talking to different UFC employees who did a great job. I want to thank everybody from the UFC. The whole week they did great taking care of us. But you can tell they was all frustrated and flustered. There had a lot going on, emails and calls, and just talking to them on the phone. You could hear in their voice. They was just wore out. And then when John came on the plane, he was dancing and having a good time, like nothing ever happened. Like, this isn't his fault. Like, he's still living a good time, having a good time, enjoying himself, having good moments with his coach, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm just thinking, like, if that was me, I would feel like shit.
Right.
Just thinking about these people got to leave their family, got to change their plans and everything because I messed up. Like, I would have made a general apology right down the plane. I want everybody to know I'm sorry we're going through this. Sorry we had to get up early and get to downstairs by like 5-something so we can get to the plane to take off at 8. All these headaches. I want to apologize. I'm sorry for that. But instead, it's like he was having a good time laughing, joking, cracking jokes with the pilot and the flight attendants. And I remember when he put his hood up, when he was sitting there listening to me, I'm looking at the back of his hood the whole time, like, I got to get there. Like, I got to win this fight this weekend, and I got to start my way to be the champ. There's no more just being here. I want to be the best. That's always been a thing. But there's no more just fighting to get to the top. I need to win this fight, get a title fight, and it's time to prove, like, it's time to change this attitude. Like DC, I like DC as a champ. I don't understand why people disrespect the DC so much. I respect him as a champ because you don't see him doing anything wrong. You don't hear him in the headlines. But it's kind of like now you see John Jones, he's a champ, and I'm just waiting for the next headline to come out. You know, I told people all camp, like, something's going to happen. I may wait under 205 because I expected, even though he got in trouble, I knew, well, I was thinking something going to get to Cali, and he won't be able to fight, and somebody's got to step in. I was ready for the opportunity. And all camp, I told Coach, like, I'm just being ready. I'm being ready for a 5-round fight because I feel something's going to happen. Before we get there, something's going to happen where John's going to fail or something's going to happen. I was just prepared for it. And it happened, but it just changed locations. Yeah. Like, I remember Ricardo texting, like, bro, you've been saying it all camp. Yeah. Like, I just had that feeling. Like, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Like, if you did it before, it's going to happen. And I've talked to people inside the UFC, outside the UFC, that say, I don't believe, like, it was an accident the first time or the second time. I think it's going to happen again as well. And it did. You were one of the few fighters initially who really came out and you put your thoughts out. And I very much respect you for that because I think a lot of fighters would be afraid to do that. But you really put your thoughts and feelings about the whole situation on Facebook. I'm wondering two things. A, did you get any blowback for that? And B, did they make it right in your eyes? I got blowback from the fans, but the UFC never said anything to me. From the fans? That's about it. The fans? The people was. What? I got so much hate. People were still on John Jones' testicles after that. It's crazy. It's when you get the kind of clout that John Jones has, where the people, even when you're in the wrong, are still trying to fight for your right. That's when you know something's really messed up. Because I was reading messages, and it got to the point where my wife just said, just turn the comments off. Like, I had one of my boys from back home. He kind of messed up in the head. He said, bro, you better take your comments off because if I see some more of these, I'm going to start finding people and just start killing. I'm like, yo, chill. You can't talk like that, bro. Like, this is driving me crazy. I can't believe people are really mad at you. Wow. So I had probably like 2,000 comments in like a day and a half, and more than half of them were negative people coming at me. Like, oh, you just mad, you just jealous. John Jones, just like when I posted about Conor when he threw the thing at the bus. It's the same thing. Conor's a king. He does what he wants. You can't tell him You're trash. You're the most boring fighter. You're the least exciting fighter. You're going to get cut soon. This. It's always something. And, and like I said, I don't just go in one ear, out the other.
Did they make it right?
I think the UFC did well. They did all they could with what they had. Like I said, the UFC employees, phenomenal job. Dana, I'm sure when it happened, he reacted so fast. He didn't get time to think on it. So what he did from there, you can't blame or can't really. I was upset. Like I said, the biggest part for me was seeing how my wife was uncomfortable. And I flew her out there, and I paid for her ticket. So they weren't going to rebook all that stuff. I had to do everything on my own. My family was supposed to come out. That stuff bothered me. But everybody got to Cali. Everybody made it to the fight. So I was happy with it. And as for what the UFC could do to make it right, I think they did the best they could.
Which is what?
They gave tickets to those that bought tickets in LA or Vegas and LA. They had this charter for if you was already in Vegas to get you in Cali on Thursday. And then the coaches, they rerouted their flights, and they made sure everybody had hotels and stuff when we got there. I had a problem getting them, and they got one for my other coaches. And like I said, I can't complain much more about that. That was all, like I said, I spilled milk in the past. And it's over with. Everything worked out. I had my family there. That was most important to me.
Do you think if the exact same thing happened to you,
I wouldn't even made it to Vegas. Come on. They got my test. They would have called me. That's it. You're scratched. You're suspended 4 years, 3. I first felony. I would have been suspended 4 years, It's John Jones. Like people say, he does sell tickets, but is it right? No.
Does that make you feel weird about the whole relationship with USADA?
I mean, like I said, I don't even care anymore. Like I said, Jeff came up to me right when was going on the way, and I liked Jeff. Like I looked up because I was hurt because he was the guy that took out Lance Armstrong. And I liked Lance Armstrong's story in college, and I found out like Jeff and he came over to us. Like I honored him. Like okay, we're gonna have a clean sport. And like I said, I don't know enough about the history of what happened with John Jones, the picograms, whatever it is, picograms. I didn't even study up on it enough, but from things I've heard and people saying like some of the stuff Jeff said was kind of like wishy-washy. I don't think that's true. And Jeff came up to me right before weigh-ins. He said, usually I always talk to Jeff. And he comes, hey, Corey, what's up? I just paid him no attention. Oh. In my mind, I just kind of blocked him out. Like I said, I don't know enough to know if he was helping out or not to point a finger and say you cheated. But at that time, like I said, it's just the things I was hearing, if it was true, and to somebody I actually thought was a clean guy to change for this, it kind of bothered me. It rubbed me the wrong way. So that morning, I just kind of ignored him. I felt him touch my own shoulder, and I could see him kind of look like, yo, he didn't even say anything to me. But and then literally right after that, John Jones came around the corner like, hey, man, how you doing? I've never spoke to John before. And I heard him as he walked away. That was Corey Anderson, right? So I don't know if he read my post or what. But he came up and said something. And again, I put my hand, I shook his hand, but I didn't say anything to him. It's kind of, I don't have any room for
Did he apologize?
Cheats. No.
Because I heard that he went up to everyone and apologized. He didn't do that to you. No. He just said, hello, how are you doing?
Yeah.
That's
hey,
it.
man, how you doing? Literally. Was dancing and counting corner. So, hey, man, how you doing? I was in the front of the line. Put his hand out, shook my hand, and kept going. I heard him say, Coach, that was Corey Anderson, right? But he never said anything else to me.
Wow. That's interesting. What do you think of his performance?
I mean, it wasn't the John Jones we used to see him, but he got the win.
Right. So he gets the win. Now he's fighting Anthony Smith. I'll tell you something. Alexander Gustafsson's manager texted me before the show knowing that you'd be on and said that they want to fight you. They want to fight you in London, and they want me to ask you what you think of this.
My baby's due on March 12th, so I won't be fighting in March. Okay. I said the only way I was coming back to fight anytime soon was with John Jones in the title. That's an opportunity I won't pass up, but everything else got to wait for my family. And I'm not even putting my family behind for John Jones, but she agreed that was an opportunity. If it came, we'd take it. She was bothered by it, but it was an opportunity, we'd take it. But other than that, as much as she supported me and what she does for me, I'm not going to put her in a hindrance situation where I'll be traveling. If she going through a stressful moment watching a fight and going to birth, and I'm not there, I'm not going to miss my first shot.
No, you don't want that. So you're on a break.
Yes.
Till?
I don't know. Like I told Ali, maybe June. We'll see.
Okay.
Wait to see after this fight. Maybe I'll do what Gustafsson did. What Gustafsson did. Just wait till I get my title shot. You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
Do you like the idea of this fight against Gustafsson?
I mean, I'll fight Gustafsson. I'll fight anybody. Every time Ali ever contacted me with a contract, I've never said no. Like, this guy said tweet stuff and say stuff. You know, I don't respond to him. But if Ali calls him and say, UFC offer you this, send me a contract. There's never been any and if, buts. There's no, let me talk to Mark. Let me talk to this. If he sends me a contract and he knows I'm fighting because I'm always in the gym, first thing I said is send me a contract.
Okay.
No matter who it is. But right now he knows I'm on a break. Until we're done with this baby, everything's checked out. my wife is healthy, my baby is healthy, and I'm able to go to the gym and don't have to worry about running home to take care of something, don't even call me. Unless it's a title fight.
Sure. Once that time comes, though, Gustafsson would be a good one. I mean, I feel like a win over Gustafsson, you're set.
You would think, but knowing the way they do me. It's like I told Mick after the fight, like, bro, congrats, great fight. You definitely got to be in the top 5 now. Like, you would think. But knowing the way they do me, I probably won't. And sure enough, rankings came out, and I tagged Mick like I told him it wouldn't happen. It's just.
And so where are you now? 6?
6.
Yeah, but those rankings are dumb.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're dumb.
You're right, but I feel like they go off of them for some reason.
You know what's the thing? They use them when it's to their advantage. Oh, you're just 6. But then sometimes when they give a title shot to Dan Henderson, who's 13, they're like, don't look at those rankings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
You can't bake the cake and eat it too, but they do.
That's right. By the way, what's going on with your
my finger?
Yeah, what's going on over there? Holy
It's still
smoke.
never healed. Got the ruptured tendon. I was actually going to contact.
Can you hold that up to that camera? What is happening over there?
What happened in the Glover Sarah fight?
What in the world?
I busted the knuckle up pretty good in college. So I was always fat this way, and never really healed all the way. And it always give me little pains. And then that fight, I remember in the 3rd round, Mark was like probably a minute and a half left. He was calling a combo. I hit him with the cross, and I felt. I looked at my hand, and my finger was stuck like this.
Oh man!
And I told him, like, no more punching. We're gonna wrestle. And
so it won't go down?
No, I got to get it scraped out. They said I can get a pin in it to help straighten it out more, but I wouldn't be able to bend my finger well. But the doctor said I can go in there and get it scraped out. So I was actually going to contact Joanne, the head of the UFC Medicals. Joanne, going to get a call, see if we can get this taken care of. Now I'm on a break, get it scraped out, and let it heal some.
Does it hurt?
No.
Not at all? Jeez.
It's like the rest of them now. It's been like that for so long. It was soft.
Is that cartilage?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was soft and it was sore, but now it's been so long.
So now I wonder, like, is that almost illegal?
What would it be illegal for?
It feels like you have like an extra, padding there on that one.
Don't let me rip that right body shot. I threw it once on the Lear. I caught him one time with it, but
damn. Okay, so they could fix. That's unbelievable.
They say it's scar tissue. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's on the inside.
Were you happy with your win over Lear?
Yeah,
he's a tough guy.
Yeah, it wasn't the way I wanted. I wanted to get the finish. I was hoping we'd get to the ground. Worked my jiu-jitsu so much, just can't. I was 100% confident. Went to the ground. I was gonna finish it on the ground with a submission.
Looking at some of the highlights here.
Yeah,
2 sledgehammers. You guys.
I'm not a sledgehammer. I'm more of a technical, a drill or something you can call it.
Well, I just mean you hit hard.
I don't think I hit as hard as the rest of them, but I make do with what I got. I'm working on it. But yeah, it was a good fight. Like I said, it was a fun fight for sure. A guy like him, I knew he was gonna throw stuff, wild stuff, trying to put me away.
I saw you shake your head at him over there, like, come on, don't be throwing that spinning stuff. Well, no, what do you guys say to each other over there?
Well, when he threw it, I was like, nope, it didn't land. Where you going? And then at the end, he was like, come on. I was like, oh, come on. I just be like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect for Leo. I had no bad blood with him. Like I said before, we talked about it in UFC 196 when he fought Gian Vellante and I fought Tom Lawler. We had not words, but like congratulations, blah blah blah. And I knew right then, eventually I'm gonna fight this guy.
Right.
So was prepared for that opportunity to come.
Yeah, Tom, unbelievable. That ended up being his last UFC fight.
Last UFC fight. I think it was from some steroids or something he had in his system. He got suspended for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was Frank Mir with the picograms. Everybody in these little things. But they didn't get the leeway.
Yeah. But. You know what's the best about the picogram excuse? No one's saying that you took picograms. That's all that came out in the test. Yeah. But eventually, you have to take it, and then it gets broken down, and then it comes out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the people who use the picogram excuse, they're saying, "Oh, I have just a pinch of salt." No, that's not what we're saying. You took. That's just what came out. You get the difference?
Yeah. They didn't even go into the full test of what was in there. I'm sure it's probably more if they look into it, but that was what they based this title off of, picograms. And that's the story of 232, picograms, everything. And they got Instagram and Twitter pages named after it now. It's a hit. So we'll go with it.
So you think 2019 you get a title shot?
Like I said, I stopped expecting things. I prepare for hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Some people say, oh, you can wait out. Maybe they'll give you the shot. Like I said, do like the Gusty. Just wait. Just don't fight until I get another title shot. But chance of happening for me, doubt it. One more win, one more big win. Would they give it to me? I would think they should, but knowing the way they do me, doubt it. Now with Santos coming up in the 205 as well, right. Dominic Reyes doing good. They'll find a way to push these new hype trains up over me, But
Well, don't let him get to you.
It doesn't. I'm going to keep living my life. I go home. I got a beautiful wife every day, a great life. There's no reason to let anything else get to me. You know, I'm happy with my life. Whatever. I'm going to make my money, make my family happy, and we leave. We're going to leave on our terms.
Yeah, you only have 2 years left anyway. And like John said, you don't want this smoke.
Yeah, you're right. I want all the smoke. All of it.
I thought him responding to you meant that he was going to, give you the fight.
Hey, I thought too, but hey, that's what we get for thinking.
That's right. and that Philippians
the 4:13
the verse, that's your favorite, right?
It's one of every fight morning. I read
saw it in
Philippians.
Don't you have it like in your gym or something?
No, Mark Henry has it.
Oh, okay.
He got a bunch of different Bible quotes in his basement.
And it's that same one that's tattooed on his chest.
Yes, he has that. John 3:16, another one. He got there's a bunch of different quotes he have on. He's a big Christian guy as well, biblical guy. He reads his Psalms 13 before every fight. We do our little team prayer, Psalms 13. And that's for me. I wake up every morning, I read Philippians 4:13 for fight morning. Philippians chapter 4, I read the whole chapter every time.
Wow.
Just testing my faith. Remember, no matter what happens, like I always post, no matter what happens, whatever, win, loss, draw, whatever happens is in the Lord's hand. And I'm a big believer in that. So, like, I know what I do in the gym, and the rest is on the Lord. Just go out and do what I do, and just know at the end, there's no questioning what he did. If I lose, whatever, it's a reason. If I win, there's a reason. If I don't get the title fight, there's a reason. There's a reason behind everything. So that's why I just don't sit there and cry about it.
So are we cool now?
We all right.
I feel like we do good, and then I do something to piss you off, and then we're back in.
And I had some shirts for you and everything.
Oh, for real?
I had an overtime shirt, beasting shirt,
and you
hats
kept it
and
at home.
You just
like,
said,
he
know
doesn't
what?
deserve it.
He gonna put that back.
Oh,
no, I forgot
man.
it. I'll bring it. Next time I go to train at Henzo's, I'll bring it up to you or something.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
A real pleasure. One last thing before you go, if you don't mind, we have this banner over here. We've got a lot of important people that have signed it. Daniel Cormier, John Jones, to name a few. Do you mind signing it for us?
I could do that.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
having
to you
me.
and your wife. Good luck with the
Thank
baby.
you.
Nothing better than fatherhood, my man. I have 3 of my own, and it will change your life for the better. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy these final moments, together, just the 2 of you. But all the unknown, all that, there's nothing better in the world. So enjoy every second.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Best of luck to you. We have some markers over there, if you don't mind. Corey Anderson stopping by. What a great guy. One of the top contenders in the UFC's light heavyweight division. Ali sent me a text saying that he is going to choke you the next time you train.
Choke me?
Yeah.
All right.
He said, who picked you up from the airport, let you sleep? I mean, all this stuff. It's just a long list. Jeez Louise.
Look, Ali, you know you my man's $100,000.
Yeah.
Now, you know I'm going to tell you how I feel. I told you in the car when you picked me up.
Unbelievable, this guy.
I'm a straight, honest guy. Shoot straight forward. You know that.
He watches and listens to everything.
That's my man.
He's waiting for the shout out. He's always waiting for the shout out.
Oh, shout out to Ali Abdelaziz for getting me on Ariel Helwani. My man. And pick me up on the airport.
That's Corey, all the best to you, my man. Thank you so much.
You guys have a good one.
Yep. Happy New Year. There he is. Corey Anderson. Take care. Beastin 25-8. Overtime. One of the top contenders in the UFC's light heavyweight division. Great to have him in studio. We appreciate it very much. Anthony Smith is getting that title shot. But guess what? Especially in that division, crazy things happen, so you never know what is going to happen. Alexander Gustafsson's manager did reach out saying they want to fight him in London. Obviously, that's not going to work out, but perhaps later on in the year. All right. For now, let us... Oh, in a matter of moments, right? Not quite. Okay. We are just moments away from our next guest. Kat Zingano is standing by. She, too, fought at UFC 233. Why do I keep saying 233? It's also very confusing. UFC 232 on December 29th. That was the John Jones card. She fought Megan Anderson. It didn't last very long. She ended up suffering a laceration on her eyelid for a second. It seemed as though it was going to be a lot worse. We thought maybe that her actual eyeball was injured. Wanted to get an update from her. Wanted to see her. Wanted to see how she is doing. And I do believe in a matter of moments she is going to be joining us via the magic of Skype. And I do believe that she is there. Kat, how are you?
How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for joining us, and sorry for keeping you waiting. By the way, do you hear an echo when I speak?
No.
Okay, good. Because we had a problem with that earlier, so I just wanted to. And do you hear an echo when you speak?
No.
Okay, wonderful. We're in good shape. Okay, how are you doing? First, is that a dog that just walked by or a cat?
Yeah, it's a puppy.
A
It's a
Peppy.
little Malinois puppy.
Oh.
I got him a few weeks ago, but only was able to bring him home after the fight.
Oh,
He's
okay.
super cute.
Oh, hello there, bud. What's his name?
He's like a velociraptor right now. He's chewing everything. His name is Marshall. We named him after Eminem.
Oh, yes, Marshall Mathers. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, most importantly, how are you doing right off the bat?
I'm okay. It's really hard to know how to feel. It's been like complicated emotions the past week, but I don't know. That whole week was like a dream, I guess. Like everything about it, between like getting out there and everything changing, and then I don't know. It just feels weird. And then on top of it, like I didn't really get to like burn off the fights, and I'm not allowed to like work out or get my heart rate up or anything right now. So it's just kind of like complicated. So I don't know. It's good. It's a another day in the life of a cat, I guess.
Can I ask you a favor, Kat? Is it possible to pan up your camera just a bit because half your face is getting cut off? There we go. That'd be perfect. Yes. Okay. How does your eye feel right now?
It's better. I went to Colorado. I went to the eye doctor out there, and he said that there was retinal damage in the iris damage. I think it's called iritis, and then something else. So I went home, kind of stayed in the dim light and everything for a few days, stayed with some friends, and then went back to the doctor, and he said it wasn't getting better, and they told me to put on an eye patch, which was like the last resort because I knew I was going to catch hell for it. But that actually has been helping a lot. And then they gave me these different drops. Like one's a steroid to like strengthen the retina. Another is to keep everything dilated so that it can heal and not be like fluctuating as far as the muscle usage. And then painkillers. So
wow,
it's coming along. I think I get the stitches out in a couple of days too.
So the official injury is what?
It's iritis and just retinal damage, and then there's like hemorrhaging on the back, but they say the hemorrhaging has gone down and that the cornea is better, but waiting on that retina. So I guess that's the trickiest part. That's something that can potentially get worse before it gets better, depending on how you treat yourself. So I'm just doing everything I can to be gentle with that and take it one day at a time.
What did it feel like when it happened?
It was awful. And like no part of her whole body, her whole foot, anything touched anything on me except my eye socket. It was just a poke, like dead on with the toe right in my eye. And honestly, like, especially after that whole week, I was like, is this seriously how it ends? Like how my career ends? Like I just lost my eye. I really thought I lost my eye. And, I don't know. It was really scary. It was really upsetting. Like it's just been a crazy road, and like for me to feel like that was it. Just, it was rough. I felt great for that camp. Like going up to 145 was awesome. I was so strong. I was so fast. Like, things were perfect. They were great. So, I felt like I was just beginning. And I don't know. I'm having some trouble seeing, I have a little bit of problem with like how it moves and things like that, but they think it'll make a full recovery. I am supposed to go to the doctor like every couple of days to make sure that it's healing, and we'll see. And
when they say full recovery, do they think you'll be able to fight again?
Yeah.
Do you want to fight again?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was just getting started. It took me like this crazy couple years to figure out where I was at in this sport. And then, this last fight I had in Boise, I was like, that's right. I found my recipe. I found what I want and what I need and what makes me tick. And I was feeling it. I was on fire, even going into this fight. Like I had these like, different challenges going into it that I was like, I'm making it through this. I'm making it through that. And whatever, like, this is all part of making all of this worth it, And so, I'm pretty let down that I didn't even get a chance to show what I can do. But, I hope that we can have a rematch. I hope that, it's, a way to run it back and we can redo it in a way that makes more sense.
So when it happened, did you think that your eye was sliced?
I like how I imagined it, like, because I'm standing in the cage and I'm just thinking, like, I can't believe this is it. Like, this can't be how this ends. And I was terrified, you know, and I know my kid was watching. Like, it's just crazy. But, you know, the commission guy, I don't know how medically, like, trained they are, but he was telling me to open it. And I'm like, I'm not opening my eye for you, you know, like, you need to take me to a doctor. You need to take me to somebody that's looking at this, like, because I'm expecting it to, like, fall out of my face if I open my eye.
Oh, my.
And I couldn't even open it. It was too scary. It hurt too much, you know. So I just wanted to get out to somebody that could actually look at it, because I believed 1,000% that it was, like, exploded inside my head. Like, nothing on me was touched. No bone on me. Nothing was touched, other than wearing it straight to the eyeball.
And is there still a possibility that you'll need surgery?
I don't know. As long as the retina keeps healing, like I said, like, I think Friday is the day I went to the doctor last, and they said that that it hadn't improved much since Monday, but they thought that the eye patch would give it a break. So, you know, going from there, as long as it's making little improvements, I think it'll be like a few weeks, and then I can start moving again and start, like, kind of testing my body and that kind of stuff. It's super weird how your whole body can affect your eye.
Right.
I didn't really expect that. I thought, okay, while my eye heals, like, I'm just going to get on the treadmill and I'll, you know, see what I can do about this depth perception and try to hit mitts or something. But, yeah, I just got to sit still for a while.
Best case scenario, when do they think that you could come back?
It's not even a conversation at this point.
Right.
Yeah. But, I mean, immediately, right away, as soon as the fight's over, like, before I even knew that, like, you have to be so stationary with an injury like that, I was talking to my coaches, and I was like, okay, well, we could get on the March 2nd card, and what is it, is that Phoenix or something, or even the end of January, thinking if this thing goes fast. But, you know, it just, right now, it's just so indefinite as far as what it's going to do. I don't know. I haven't had anything like this ever happen to me.
We were just talking to Corey Anderson, who was on the card, and he was very frustrated with what happened at 233. I know you were equally as frustrated. I would imagine with the weekend ending that way, that's just a week that you just want to forget, right?
It was awful. Like, I know that there was, like, this elephant in the room for all of us. Like, every time we all got around each other, like, I know we wanted to talk about it, but it was kind of like we realized, okay, you don't fight, you don't get paid. But at the same time, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to be, like, blatantly shown that, like, we actually don't really matter. You know, like, John Jones matters, pay-per-view matters, like, whatever that, you know, it was rough. It was hard. You know, it's like we put everything into this sport, like, including our integrity. And it was definitely tested all week long. You know, there was just little things that was constantly going wrong. Like, you guys really actually didn't even see the half of it. And, you know, meanwhile, trying to keep your mind right. Like, I felt like I did a good job. I stayed focused. I stayed ready. And to me, that was, you know, that was a challenge. It was a test. And I felt like I got through it, you know. So again, for it to end the way it did, it was just like, seriously, like, after this whole week, after this whole camp.
Right.
But yeah, it was tough. It was tough to not be offended. You know, it was tough to have people not know what to do because they're looking for, hey, do we come to LA? Do you want us to do this? Do you want us to do that? Know that they, you know, wasted money. And meanwhile, like, I can't help you figure out what to do. I need to figure out what I think, you know?
Right. Oh, we lost her there for a second. We'll reconnect with Kat here in a moment. I appreciate her candor. Also, her dog, I can relate to that situation. Reminds me a lot of my dog, who just never stops and is always going and being really annoying. I actually got into a fight with my middle son yesterday because I called the dog annoying, and he said, "She's not annoying, you're annoying." I was like, "What? You're siding with the dog over me? I gave you life." Anyhow, fascinating stuff from Kat Zingano there. And as you can see, if you're watching, if you're just listening to it, listening to the interview, she is wearing an eye patch over her right eye. And as of right now, no real timetable set for when she can return. But that is very scary stuff. I was thinking of Mike Winklejohn when it happened, who is the coach of John Jones, who famously was poked in the eye by a kick and unfortunately lost his eye as a result. It doesn't sound like it was as bad for Kat, which is tremendous news, but very scary. Unfortunately, as Big John McCarthy noted on social media immediately following the fight, because you can't, well, that's weird. Because you can't, by the way, if we can't connect on Skype, yeah, just do phone. Okay. We believe her phone died, so we are trying to reconnect with her. That would be horrible timing. But because you can't kick closed, right? Let's pretend this is my foot. Because you can't kick with closed toes, there's really nothing that you can do. So while a Carmi situation, a very rare one, and not really one that you can protest, is what Big John said. With a poke to the eye, you can punch with a closed fist, thus avoiding the poke. And then you could say that there was an infraction, there was a foul because you put your hands out, you didn't close your hands. But unfortunately, with your feet, you can't do that. So that's what Big John said, and it makes sense. It's just a really crappy situation. And now we wonder what happens to the featherweight division, of course, with Cyborg losing, and where Megan Anderson goes from here, and where Kat Zingano goes from here. Just a lot of questions surrounding the whole situation. So I hope she does get better. And I hope that we can finish this interview before we get to our next guest, who's scheduled to join us in a matter of moments, Cain Velasquez. Unfortunately, we can't get to Cain late because I do know that he has a hard out. So we're up against the clock now. Hopefully her phone didn't actually die, because that would be horrible timing. Matter of moments, we're going to be joined by Cain. Then we're going to be joined by Rachael Ostovich. After that, we're going to be joined by Sean O'Connell, who won the PFL $1 million prize. And then after that, we will wrap things up with Alex Hernandez, who meets Donald Cerrone on January 19th. First show of the UFC on ESPN era in Brooklyn, Barclays Center. The fact that I didn't get any text or anything from her makes me think that her phone died, which is just horrible. We were just getting to the interesting stuff. I don't really mean interesting stuff, but you know what I'm saying. She was trying to open up about the whole 233 incident. Moving the card 2 days before Christmas from Las Vegas to Inglewood. Yeah. Okay. So I guess, well, let's give her a minute or so, and then we can connect with Cain, who we have not seen in action since UFC 200, his win over Travis Brown. It has been that long for Cain Velasquez. Amazing. I feel for Kat Zingano. It has not been easy for her. She came back in July. She had the great win over Marion Renaud, the decision victory. That was her first win in almost 4 years. Remember, we had her on the show after. She was glowing. She had the 3 straight losses. Ronda Rousey, Juliana Pena, Caitlin Vieira. Came back, beat Renaud via decision in Boise, and then had the fight against Megan Anderson, which only lasted 61 seconds. Injury to the eye. Toe to the eye. Ugh, horrible, brutal. One of those injuries that you're watching it, and you can just feel the pain, and you just can't imagine, and you don't want to imagine what it would feel like to get a toe to the eye. Oh, and then actually have like a cut there. It just sounds like hell. It sounds like hell. It is brutal to think about. I really feel for her. I don't think the eye patch is that bad, to be honest. I really don't. I think it's kind of, it adds character. I don't think that she's going to be able to contest it, which is unfortunate, but I was actually like one of my next questions. I was going to ask her if she was going to contest it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to that. So it seems as though it was a phone issue. So we'll move along to Cain Velasquez. Maybe we can check back in with her before we Oh. Okay, we're going to get to Kat here for a minute or so before we get to Cain. I do believe they are telling me that. Kat, are you there?
Sorry.
What happened?
My phone died. My phone died. I guess I forgot to plug it in.
Oh, my.
That's right.
What timing? Unfortunately, we just have a couple of minutes left. I wanted to ask you so much, but I'm just curious. Are you going to contest this?
Yeah, you know what? I am, because there was enough people, especially like right after the fight. I just kind of wanted to like, man, like just chalk it up to, this, but the more people that I had talked to me about it, especially people high up in the ranks in the UFC staff, and like, I don't know, just like, and the thing is, if I contest it and it goes my way, neither of us wins, neither of us loses, and we both get paid, and at the end of the day, I'm safe. Like, and if it doesn't change for me, and like whatever, like I know they're at least looking at figuring out what constitutes a poke for the future, and like if I can arrange and have that be something that just keeps people safe as far as fighters, and these upcoming generations, like cool. I'd appreciate something with that, because this is just so confusing. And, again, like I got hit right in the eye, and I wasn't sure that I was okay or that I was ever going to see again, and so to have that be a TKO, I get it. I can see it from that side, but at the same time, like in the rules, it's just so vague what that means. Like you can get poked by an elbow. You can get poked by fingers, you can get poked by a chin, but it says nothing about the thumb or the toes, because those are not considered fingers, those are digits. So, it's just something that hasn't been like officially and like addressed, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, like if it doesn't go to a no contest, like I'm bummed about it, but like I get it. And if it does, like, I think it just sets us up to, do it again in a way that, really doesn't affect anyone. I'm pretty positive she's not excited with how she got the W, and, I'm not happy about how I got that L. Like I can't even be, I don't even know how to process that right now. It's just like, I didn't feel out of the fight. I didn't get hit with a strike. It'd be one thing if she kicked me in the face and it happened to go in my eye, but like no part of anything actually struck me or hit me, other than just something that flew right into my eye, So, I mean, I don't know. But, yeah, we're going to look at it, and people that know more than us and that are more expert in this type of thing are going to be the ones to make that decision. And, whatever they say, I'll go with. That's really it.
I wish you the best, Kat. I'm really sorry that this happened to you. I'm thankful that it wasn't worse. I know that may sound a little crazy in your current state. But it seems
I feel the same way.
Yeah, but it could have been worse. So count your blessings there. Get well soon. Please keep us posted on how you're doing. And thank you for always being so honest and open with your thoughts. I wanted to talk a little more about 233 and how you were treated. Unfortunately, we were up against the clock here because of everything that happened technologically. I blame it on Apple, basically, or if you use an iPhone. So, and good luck with the dog. Good luck with the dog.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. It's a good chapter I'm going into here.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Always a pleasure.
All right. You too. Have a good day. Bye, Ariel.
There she is, Kat Zingano, stopping by. I appreciate, as I said, her candor as always, and hope that she has a speedy recovery. Very scary. The eye, one of the most important parts of our body, as you can tell from what she was just saying. You run, you think, oh, I can lift weights. I can run on the treadmill. I could do whatever I want, even though I'm, nursing an injured eye. In the end, you can't. Could you imagine with an injured eye like that, you're running up and down? That must seem like the worst thing in the world to go through. Unbelievable. So I wish her the best. Okay, let us move along. February 17th is the first main card on ESPN. Headliner, Cain Velasquez versus Francis Ngannou. The long-awaited, much-anticipated return of the former UFC heavyweight champion, my friend and yours, El Campeón, Cain Velasquez. He joins us now on the phone. Cain, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Long time no speak. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you.
We missed you, and everyone just exploded when they found out that you were coming back. I guess the first question that everyone wanted to know, why were you out for so long?
Oh, it's the controversy of the last weekend pulled out of the fight versus Fabricio. There were some injuries I needed to take care of. It took me about, I would say, close to 6 months to kind of get, over the injuries and get everything nice and tidied up and get healthy. And then in the process, we ended up extending our family. So I really wanted to be there for the first, for my wife's pregnancy and also the whole first year of my child's life. So being able to do that was amazing. I wasn't able to do that as much as I wanted to with our daughter. So it was just a big point for me to do it, for my child this time, and I could do it, So it was good.
Congratulations. You had a boy, right?
Thank you. Yes, we did.
That's amazing. So a future wrestler. You're going to push him into wrestling like DC did with his son?
I don't think I need to push him.
It's just going to happen.
Oh, man. I mean, he's just all boy, and he's crazy. He's nuts. Just all the things that boys do, it's what he does. So I don't see me having to push him in there. I would say the most important thing is just to find something that I think he would enjoy, and then just slowly put him into different sports and just see what he likes.
So there was never any point throughout all this, because I feel like there was some whispers here and there that you might never come back, that you might never fight again. Was there ever a point where you thought that you might never fight again?
There wasn't. I just think I love this too much. I love to train. I love to work out. And if I don't get to do it, then that's hard. That's hard for me. So if I could, physically, which I can, well, this is the reason why I'm back. So I just love to do it.
And how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. I'm in camp, full swing now, doing everything. The body feels good, so I feel great. I feel great coming up to this fight. I know Francis. I know his style of fighting, and I know how dangerous he is, especially, on his feet. And so I feel good going to this fight. I know there's things that I got to do to go out there and to win this fight, and obviously win it in a great fashion that I want to do it in. So just working hard, man, and trying to put the hours in.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we always kind of called you Cardio Cain. You have incredible cardio. Your pace is relentless. Do you feel like you're in that kind of shape, or do you feel like it's going to take a while, considering the 2.5-year layoff, to get you in maybe not even in this fight? Like, it's going to take a fight or two to get you back to where you were when you were champion.
No, with the time off, I was in the gym and, just working on stuff that I haven't had a chance to work on. Things to improve, and also things to just new tools, I guess. But as far as going in and being as far as the same with the cardio, I feel the same. I feel the same. I can put the same work ethic in to every practice. That same pace. For me, it's more so, God-given, and I do have to work at it for sure, and get my conditioning up more so. But naturally, it's there already. It's being work at it, to get it better every day, and that's what we're doing.
Does it feel like this was the perfect opportunity, the perfect scenario for you to return to, back in your home state, fighting in Phoenix? You had the opportunity to headline the first card on Big Fox. Now the first card on ESPN, you're headlining that. I mean, it just seems like tailor-made for your return. Did you consider all those things when you said yes to this? Or was it maybe even you that pitched them this idea?
There were certain avenues that we wanted to address, and there are certain cities that we would want to return to, to fight. And you get the opportunity to fight in Phoenix, definitely was kind of a no-brainer. Definitely. The timing was right, the venue is right. So I feel like it was a perfect venue.
Did it cross your mind that you're now the first guy to headline the first Fox and ESPN cards?
Yeah, I did.
That's an amazing little feather in your cap.
Yeah. It is, and it's just it just comes down to the performances. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though I can go out there and perform, and I can't wait to show that on my way back. On my fight back, show the people how I've improved, and yeah.
Now, what was going on between you and WWE? Because at first we see you sitting front row, then I saw you at their performance center, and there were some whispers that you were going to try your hand at that. What's happening there?
I've always been a fan of WWE. As a little kid, and going into wrestling. I mean, it's the same thing. I've kind of been in kind of the same sport for a while now. I've always liked it. DC's a big fan of it. So when I got the chance to go to a venue and also to go practice with the performance center over there with WWE, I mean, it was just opportunity that I wanted to do, and I would like to work with them even more so in the future. But yeah, that's something that's there that I can definitely do. But right now, I think it's more so I just need to focus on the fighting, obviously. But that's something that's always there as well.
Okay, so when you say you want to work with them in the future, you mean actually wrestle for them in the future?
Definitely. I would love that. Being able to go out there and train with them, I kind of got a little insight of just how the whole business works, and I just wanted to see if I would be a good fit to go in there and to even see if I could even do it. Right.
Right.
I mean, it is kind of the same sport, but not really. So there's obviously things that I had to learn and that I have to learn if I want to do that. Just like with anything else. So yeah.
Could you do this while you're still in the UFC?
I would like to, yeah.
Is that I know you just signed a new contract, right?
Yeah.
Is that in there? Like, are you like the Brock clause, if you will, that you could do both at the same time?
No, not that, but more so just kind of get practicing with them, and then when I can do it, then yeah, I would like to. Yeah, it was fun, man. I had a blast, and just the company itself in general, and the people there, and the people working there. I mean, well, everyone was great. You know what I mean? So just a nice community. Yeah, it was something good. Something good came out of it. So.
Have you thought about what your gimmick would be? Like, would you wear a luchador mask?
I mean, yeah, I thought about it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think possibly a mask. Maybe not. I don't know, but I think it would have to be done right. We'd have to sit down and kind of figure it all out and come up with a good gimmick.
This is incredible. You and DC together, you would kill everyone. What a tag team that would be, right? He'd do all the interviews, and you just crush everyone.
We both would do the crushing. You're right.
Yes, that's true. That is true. What has it been like watching him become champion? But I feel like every opportunity that he gets, he still puts you over as the greatest heavyweight champion. He doesn't ever want to, like, he's very quick to remind everyone that he's just doing this because you're away. Once you come back, he's going to walk away. You're still the man. And of course, we all remember him dropping down so that he wouldn't fight you and wouldn't be forced into that predicament. What has it been like for you to watch all this unfold?
Just inspirational, just being able to watch him and being able to help him, here in the gym as much as I could, kind of getting ready for those fights. Going up to heavyweight and fighting Stipe, I knew we could beat him. There's a certain certain plan that he would have to go out there and execute. But I just thought he was quicker than Stipe, and there really isn't a place where he could beat him unless you got caught with a clean shot. So just inspirational, man. That he's been doing what he's doing. He's just, it's just he just jumps and dives in, 100%. And he says he's fighting at heavyweight, fighting Stipe, and he's busting his ass to get ready for that fight. Just to watch that and go out there and watch him do it. I mean, that was awesome. Just again, inspirational.
And you would never entertain the idea of fighting him, still, right?
Fight him? No. That's too complicated.
Yeah. And at this point, it seems like the schedules are going to align where you're not going to have to fight him, right? He'll probably retire by the time you're in title contention again.
Was that again? Sorry, I was getting a call from my wife.
Oh, yeah. And I know we're up against the clock here. We got to you a couple of minutes late, but I was just going to say the stars seem to align as far as the schedule is concerned, where he says he's going to retire this year, so you won't even have to worry about that, which is a nice luxury.
I mean, we'll see what happens, I just know what kind of competitor he is, and whatever he wants to do, he has my support 100%. I think he's done, just an amazing job so far as a fighter, as a person, as a businessman. So whatever he wants to do, I'm behind him, and whatever he wants to do, I'm going to help him as well. So yeah.
And last thing for you, Cain, and again, great to talk to you, and so nice to hear your voice again. In your mind, all goes well against Francis. Where does that put you in the heavyweight division? How quickly do you want to be in a title fight?
How quickly? We'll see how the fight goes. I never make predictions, but I want to go out there, show people again that I've improved and show that. And with that, I believe title contention right away.
Okay, interesting. All right, I'm looking forward to it. February 17th, Phoenix, Arizona, on ESPN. Wow, still seems weird to say that. Cain Velasquez versus Francis Ngannou in the main event. I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back, Cain. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. Good luck in the last month and a half of training.
Hey, thank you, Ariel.
All right. Great to talk to you. There he is. El Campeón himself, Cain Velasquez. So great to talk to him. Welcome back, Cain. I'm looking forward to that main event. February 17th, Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, let's move along. In a couple of minutes, in around 3 minutes, we're going to be joined by our next guest. Her name, Rachael Ostovich. She's been in the news as of late. She is competing on the January 19th card against Paige Van Zandt. You found out about this fight probably back in, I think, August. It was first reported by MMAfighting.com, and it has come in and out of the news for various reasons, and she is going to join us via the magic of Skype. Back in mid-November, November 18th to be exact, news came out that she was hospitalized early November 18th, suffering from a broken orbital bone. A day or so later, we found out that her husband, a mixed martial arts fighter named Arnold Bourdon, was arrested on suspicion of second-degree attempted murder, and that Rachael had been granted a temporary restraining order against her husband. On November 21st, we found out that Bourdon was charged with second-degree assault, and on November 26th, we found out that he pleaded not guilty, and that his claim would be self-defense when the issue goes to trial. That would be the preliminary hearing would be on February 18th. So that's when we first found out, and we found out about the news in mid-November, and then we found out that she would most likely not remain on the card against Paige Van Zandt on January 19th. But very shortly thereafter, we found out that she was going to remain on the card, that it was her call, that she wanted to keep fighting, that it was very important for her to keep fighting, put out a wonderful statement about wanting to keep going, and everyone seemed very excited that she was going to keep on fighting. We then later found out in December that Greg Hardy was going to be on that same card, and that sparked a whole new conversation about both of them being on the same card. And a lot of people wanted to talk to Rachael about it. At that time, this was around the Toronto card. We reached out to her. She didn't want to talk about it. She wanted to focus on the fight. But here we are, less than 2 weeks away from the January 19th card. And she is very kind enough and gracious enough to be joining us. So let us go to the magic of Skype and say hello to Rachael Ostovich. Rachael, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. It's good to see you. I just want to ask, because we had an issue with a previous guest, Joanne Calderwood. Do you hear any echo or feedback when I speak or when you speak?
I think I do hear a little bit of echo when I speak, but that's okay.
If it's, I know that can be frustrating because I've been on that end. If it's annoying, we can try calling you again. Do you want us to try again? Is it frustrating for you?
I think it's okay for right now.
Okay. Yeah. If it gets annoying.
Actually, I don't hear it anymore.
Oh.
Did you guys fix it?
I don't know. Sometimes it just kind of fixes itself. So if it does come up, just let me know and then we'll rectify it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for doing this. Good. I appreciate it very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in a lot better space mentally, physically, emotionally. So I'm just happy to be here on the show. First time for everything.
Yes, it is. It is your first time on the show, and I've wanted to have you on for quite some time. Physically, how are you doing?
Physically, I feel good. I'm back to normal, and I feel even better. So, yeah, just taking it day by day.
This is not your average fight because there's so much attention for the first ESPN card, and Paige is a big name, and she's she's coming back after a year layoff. Does it feel different? Does it feel like there are more? You're in the commercial I saw. Does it feel like this is, if not the biggest fight of your career?
I mean, yeah, definitely. This is the biggest fight of my career. Definitely dealing with bigger names. We're dealing with ESPN, being on the first card. It's kind of like we're making history here. So I'm super excited and just grateful, humbled to be here, and I'm so happy to be fighting, honestly.
So I ran down, before you came on, I ran down the timeline of events regarding what happened between you and your husband in mid-November. How much are you willing to discuss? Are you able to tell us what happened on November 18th?
I mean, I can only say what has already been released. I can't go off on a limb here and put myself in danger because it is still an ongoing court case. So I don't want anything to be held against me as well. So if we could understand that, that would be great. I'll try to answer as best as I can. But I'd be grateful if
Absolutely.
We could be sensitive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what injuries you suffered that night?
I dealt with, a lot of bruising, numerous bruising around the body, but nothing I can't handle. And, I think emotionally it was more, I suffered more emotionally I'm, still going through things, but, as far as injuries, I got cleared. I'm able to fight and I'm working through it, and I'm going to be there January 19th ready.
Ultimately, you came to the decision to stay on the card. Was there ever a doubt in your mind about remaining on the card? Did you ever consider, maybe I'll take a month or so off and come back in March?
No, never. I wanted to fight. I love fighting. And once I signed that contract, unless it's going to be really hard for me to pull out of a fight, honestly. Like, I know how it is to get pulled out, to be fighting and to be on the opposite end. As for Paige, I'm sure she was training hard. She had some injuries and some things that she was going through herself. And, when I make a commitment, that means a lot to me. Like, I want to be a woman of my word. And, I think that's an important thing to have nowadays. A lot of people, don't keep to their word. And, and I had every reason to pull out, drop out, but I felt like this fight was just so much bigger than just me and my problems. I feel like with this fight and following through, and that it can, I want to be able to inspire and motivate others, to show other people that you can do whatever you set your mindset to, And like, we all go through problems. Just so happened mine got blasted all over the internet, and all over the world and the news, and but everyone goes through struggles just like me, maybe even worse. And it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want and whatever you set your mind to. I guess that's what I'm basically trying to say and prove.
What is it like to have a very personal thing like this between you and your husband, as you said, get blasted out to the world all over the internet? I'm sure tons of people are reaching out. Not only are you dealing with the incident, but then you're dealing with all the, the attention that comes with it. What is that like?
I mean, it was very hard. It was the first time that I actually went through something like that. Turn it down. Sorry, I have my daughter with me. She's like blasting some YouTube in the back.
No problem.
But yeah, it was very hard for us. I think of my daughter every time I see, these news articles. She knows how to work YouTube. And like the other day, like I caught her like, hey Siri, type in Rachael Ostovich, and the articles popped up, and she was watching it, and I was like, Ruby, what are you watching? And then I had to take away the phone. Like, it's just it's hard in that aspect where it affects me so personally, down to my daughter, where she's gonna have to grow up seeing all of this everywhere. And it's something that I'm still going through and still sifting through and trying to handle it the best way I can and be positive and just make this situation a good one.
How is she doing?
She's doing great. She's I'm very fortunate. She's very smart for her age. She's 5 years old. She understands the situation to the best of her knowledge, and she's very accommodating and loving. She loves both of her parents. She loves her daddy. She loves her mommy, just how it should be. And it's hard. It's a hard situation with kids in general, but when there's kids involved, so I'm just so grateful that I have lots of love and support around me, and there's no shortage of love for my baby. So I'm grateful for that.
I know the training camp is coming to an end, and training camps in general, even the most mundane training camps, can be an emotional roller coaster. Now that it's almost come to an end, has this gone the way you expected when you decided, okay, I am going to proceed with the fight? It's going to be hard. What has it been like dealing with the emotions and all the news and the attention, but also getting ready for the biggest fight of your life?
I knew that, honestly, every single fight I've ever had has always been, very hard spiritually, emotionally, for some reason. And I feel like every time I take a fight, there's always going to be those battles that you go through that nobody knows about. And it's only something that you and, your family and your close friends know about. And then that's something that I've been dealing with for as long as I can remember. And, something like this, where it's public, it's just a little different because now I have to handle other people, when before it was just me. So, I mean, there's so much more to fighting. A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of it all. And I think I'm going off topic. Am I?
No.
I'm like, what is the question again? But yeah, it's just I just take it day by day, and I try not to stress about things too much or overthink. We can only do what I can only do what I can do, and the rest is up to God. Just gotta hand it to Him, and just whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
So it seemed like, when the news came out, and whether or not you were going to remain on the card, everyone was talking about it. You came out, put your statement, and then, everyone accepted that you were going to be on the card. But then when the Greg Hardy news came out, it sort of reignited all over again, and you were kind of brought back in. What was your reaction when you found out that Greg was going to be on the same card as you?
Well, I remember waking up to a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter, and I was like, what is this? What is going on in the world? And I was just like, I didn't really look into it too much because, I was kind of busy, like dealing with my own thing, and I got my daughter, and, life goes on. But then I started getting calls and, people reaching out to me, and I kind of just was like, well, this has nothing to do with me. And I'm just, I'm focused on my fight. I'm focused on nobody's story is the same. Nobody's situation is the same. I have nothing to do with Greg Hardy. I'm just grateful to be fighting again. And, I believe in second chances. I'm glad he's making a turnaround. And, I hope the same can happen for my husband and anybody else who's, made a wrong choice. I've made wrong choices. And I'm so glad that, I was able to come back from those kind of things. We've all been, not on our best behavior, but for some people, just they get caught or whatever it may be. But I don't know his situation. I only know mine. I can't speak on it. I'm just really happy to be fighting, honestly.
Dana White said that he spoke to you about Greg being on the same card as you. What was that conversation like?
Basically just like this. I just told him the same thing. I was like, I mean, that's not up to me. Whoever you put on the card is whoever you guys got. I'm just focused on my fight, and this is my big fight, and I'm not gonna give it up no matter what. I honestly didn't even know who Greg Hardy was. I'm so bad.
Wow.
But
you only found out about his story once all this news came out about him being on the same card as you.
Yeah. So I was clueless, honestly. So yeah. I'm just happy to be fighting, honestly. I don't know what's going on with him or his thing, but I'm focused on me.
Did the UFC call you about him being on the same card before the news came out or after the news came out?
I believe it was after the news came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there like hey, if you don't feel comfortable about this, or was it just, trying to speak to you about the thought process behind it all?
Oh, no, Dana was very, very, I feel like he's like some type of uncle or something, because he was very like caring and nice about it, and like, oh, we just wanted to make sure you're okay, blah blah blah. And I just like I seen like an interview with another news reporter, and everything he said was what I said. I know that he gets a lot of heat about whatever, but yeah, there is no fishiness surrounding that thing. Yeah, he is very concerned, and as from with my situation from the very beginning as well.
Okay.
I think he didn't even want me to fight, actually. I had to like convince him and beg him to fight. Like I felt like he really genuinely cares.
You're talking initially when all this came out. They didn't want you to fight on the card?
Yeah, I'm sure him and my manager just discussed it, but when I went back and I called him, I was like, I need to fight. Like, I don't care. Like, I gotta fight. Like, I know this is my fight and I need to fight. And he was like, yesterday I didn't want you to fight and there was no way, like, but you giving me all your reasons, and I see it from your point of view, and I understand, and we're gonna make it happen, blah 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 blah. And so I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah.
What kind of messages of support, especially since you came out and made that initial statement as to why you wanted to remain on the card? I'd imagine you got a lot of people supporting you. Did you get a lot, and did they, did any of them, really, really touch you and give you even more motivation going into this fight?
Yeah, I mean, just from the very get-go of when the news dropped, when I got pulled out, I didn't pull out, I think. My coach and my manager, they did that. I never wanted to pull out, but when the fight got canceled and then got through this whole process, there was so much people that were just so supportive and loving. And not only that, I was getting so much messages from people around the world that just shared with me their stories and like similar situations, and I would just I'd cry like reading it. Like it's a crazy thing. Like, no, I think it's so crazy that people want to share with me their personal stories and feel comfortable enough with sharing with me, and I really appreciate that. I don't get to respond to everything, but I do try my best to read a whole bunch of messages I get, and I'm just really grateful that we as people can relate to one another no matter what, no matter our differences. We're all going through some type of struggle, and I hope that with this fight and living out my life, that I can help others get out of situations like that are similar to mine, and can just be better people. Better. Let's be better humans.
You live in Waianae, correct?
Correct.
Which is obviously where Max Holloway lives. That's where we kind of all learned about Waianae, I think, in the MMA community. But I understand it's not, the biggest place in the world. And I'm wondering what it's been like for you with, you becoming, this news story, international news story, everyone talking about you for the last 2 months, but still trying to, go about your daily life with your daughter and the community and all that. Has that been difficult? Has it been hard to do the camp in Waianae with all this going on around you?
There's a lot more people who stop me to ask to take pictures. I can't really go to Target anymore and not, I can't really do my mommy stuff. I usually like to go to Target and just like look at the sales and go grocery shopping and do like normal things. But it's okay. I embrace it all because I'm just grateful that people want to take pictures of me. And I still feel the same girl that I was 10 years ago, and then a lot of people, we know each other. We're like family. We grew up together. So a lot of people are like, it's just Rachael. So that's cool. I like that too. That's a good thing about being home. Just taking it day by day.
And with your husband, was this an isolated incident, or was this a problem that was happening for quite some time?
This incident was definitely isolated, and in a way where it was definitely the worst time. I have got into other arguments before and stuff like that. There was other times where we would there's physical stuff that happened, but this time was definitely the time where I was just like, it's not how it's supposed to be. And you can only try for so many years, and I'm sure I played my part too. No relationship is perfect, but no one should be putting their hands on anybody, no matter the reason or the case. And I think a lot of people need to know that.
When do you get to New York?
I get in the 15th, the 14th, 14th, 15th.
As you know, New York is not some small place. It's kind of it's a crazy place with a lot of media, and it's been compared to a circus sometimes, right? A lot of attention, a lot of cameras. Are you ready for what's to come in New York when you get there next week?
If it's been anything like this past couple months, then I think so. I think I'll be ready. But I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty chill. I don't really let things get to me. So I'm excited for the process. I know it's part of the job, so take it.
What do you think it's going to be like when you walk out to the cage on January 19th after everything you and your daughter and your family have been through? What do you think is going to go through your mind?
There's a lot of things that can go through my mind, but I believe it's going to be just like any other fight. That's how I'm going to treat it. Of course, there's more at stake. This is my biggest fight. I'm going against Paige. She's definitely a well-known name. But I'm not going to overthink, and, I'm just going to go out there and do my thing.
I wish you the best, Rachael. Thank you so much for doing this. And hello to your daughter. She finally made a cameo right in the back over there.
Oh, let me say hi.
Yeah, she made hello. Thanks for being so good.
That's what YouTube does.
Yes, I know. I have 3 of my own, and it's amazing how YouTube can silence them.
I don't even like going on YouTube, but I was like, today, girl, you got to go on YouTube for at least 20 minutes. Just hold on.
Well, I really appreciate it. I commend you on how you've been handling everything. As I said, you're an inspiration to a lot of people. So, kudos to you. Good luck in the last week of training. Good luck in the fight, and looking forward to seeing you out there in Brooklyn.
Thank you so much, Ariel. It's my pleasure to be on here. See you soon.
Okay, there she is, Rachael Ostovich joining us. appreciate her time very much and appreciate her daughter's time very much as well. I know it's very hard for a 5-year-old to be sitting in the car quiet like that. That is a very tough thing to do. Having 3 of my own, it's damn near impossible. But thank you so much to her, and she will be fighting on the ESPN Plus card on January 19th in Brooklyn against Paige Van Zandt. Greg Hardy is also fighting on that card in the co-main event against Alan Crowder. Main event is TJ Dillashaw versus Henry Cejudo for the UFC flyweight title. Very much appreciate her coming on and talking about everything that's been going on in her life over the last 2.5 months with a lot of grace and class. So thank you to Rachael and thank you to her manager, Brian Butler, for making that happen as well. All right, let us move along and say hello to our next guest. What a story. One of the last big stories of 2018, the PFL Finals, PFL 11 here in New York City at the Hulu Theater, the Madison Square Garden Theater. They gave out those $1 million checks, and to me, one of the best stories of the night happened when Sean O'Connell defeated Vinny Magalhães to win the light heavyweight title. He won the light heavyweight tournament. He got the big fat check, and then he retired. His post-fight speech was incredible. What a way to go out. It will be very hard for anyone to top that in terms of an exit in mixed martial arts. He's got a great media career ahead of him. It's all set up, and so he's not really scrambling now for a job. But I wanted to talk to Sean about saying goodbye like that, how he got it done, and then some. He is kind enough to be joining us on the phone right now. I do believe in the middle of a break while at work. Sean, are you there?
I'm here, yeah. Hi, Ariel.
Good to talk to you. What are you doing right now? Which work? 'Cause I feel like you have a lot of jobs.
I just have 2 day jobs. This one, I recruit pilots for a regional airline called SkyWest Airlines, and that's the gig that gives me the health insurance I need now that I got a baby on the way. So it's one of the day jobs. The other one, obviously, being the Sirius XM radio show.
Okay, I feel like, just knowing you a little bit, you like the media job a little more. Like, that's the one that really gets you excited.
Yeah, I absolutely love doing the media stuff. I mean, you and I probably have that in common. It's an absolute blast covering sports that you love and calling it a job. So that's the one that really makes me tick. But you do what you have to do to provide for your family. So I enjoy working for the airline also.
Okay. So back to the job that you just left, the mixed martial arts job. So you just retired, like I said. You go through the tournament. When you left the UFC, before heading into the PFL, before knowing that the PFL, was a thing, your last fight in the UFC was against Corey Anderson. Coincidentally enough, he was in studio just moments ago. Did you think that was the end?
I wasn't sure if it was going to be the end. I knew the UFC was going to be done with me because, the writing was on the wall. We know how it goes when you go on a losing streak. And I was pretty resolved not to go back down the ladder and fight on like the regional circuit or locally or anything like that. But I thought at the time that, one of the Asian organizations might campaign for my services, maybe KSW. There's a pretty thriving scene around the world and people that pay well and you can fight good competition. But then that didn't happen. And, for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I was on the shelf and it looked like that was going to be more of a permanent situation, which was disappointed. But thankfully the PFL came along and, everything worked out.
So when you went into that tournament, like if someone asked you for the perfect scenario, did you craft this in your mind? I'm going to go through this. I'm going to win the $1 million and I'm going to retire. Was that the idea from the get-go?
It was.
Wow.
And those conversations got more and more realistic as we progressed through the regular season. And then, the finals became a reality. I sat down with my coach. I sat down with my wife, all the people that have been real close to me throughout my career. And I was just like, hey, going out on a high note is pretty important to me. I didn't have an opportunity to do that with the UFC run. I'd like to make sure that I do this the right way. So we got to get a win in these finals, and then I think I'll be satisfied. And the more we talked about it, the more that I realized that was the case. And I was gonna call it a day, basically, regardless of the outcome in those finals. But made it a lot easier and made it feel a lot better to say that was that because I got the win.
So I always find that retirements in MMA to be so interesting because I feel like once you have that one foot out the door, it's already kind of done, and it's very hard. And this coming from someone who's never fought, but I feel like historically when we see someone who's talking about retirement says, oh, I have one more, it starts to feel like the beginning of the end. To go through a grind like that, knowing that this is the last run, are there ever any moments where there's mental hurdles, mental roadblocks where you're like, I don't really know if I want to go through all this again, another fight? Like, what is going through your mind as you're playing out this entire process?
Well, it's funny because a lot of people I think shy away from talking about their long-term plans in the mixed martial arts world because of that sentiment. Because when you say, I think I'm, winding it down, people automatically assume that means a lesser version of you is going to be seen in the cage the next time because you're not as focused and you're not training as hard or whatever. And I found the opposite to be true as I was preparing for this fight with Vinny, that knowing it was probably going to be the last show, I had to put my best foot forward. And, the days when I didn't want to go in for my second training session or the end of the workout when I wanted to call it good after 3 conditioning rounds instead of doing the full 5 to get ready for a title fight, I would just have that reminder like, look, this is the last time you're going to do this. You can't put anything but the best version of yourself out there. So make sure you put in the work. But, I think that we have seen in the past people that say, thinking about this being a retirement fight, and maybe they're just already packing it in. That wasn't the case for me, and I hope that anyone else who has designs on maybe going out on a high note, I hope they don't let that be the case for them, because I think it's easy to stay focused and to train hard knowing that you've only got one more go.
So the first fight goes really well. You win via TKO. You lose the second fight right before the playoffs. Do you consider at that point not going into the playoffs?
No, not at all. I knew that I had enough points from the first TKO win over Marks to get into the playoffs. I knew that all you need in a tournament scenario is a shot. All you need is a chance. And I would have preferred to go in as the number 2 seed, but I went in as the 6th seed instead and just followed that path. But it was never a consideration to retire off of a loss, especially when there were still opportunities ahead of me.
I remember thinking that it was a really quick turnaround from August 30th to October 13th for you coming off a loss like that and then having to fight twice in the same night. Did you feel comfortable with that?
I did. Obviously it was a TKO from the body shot more than anything against Bozagit, and that was comforting to know that my head hadn't been the thing that had sustained all the damage for a quick turnaround. So your body can handle what it can handle, and I just got right back in the gym after that. Was happy to be mostly healthy, and I had a couple cuts that I needed to let heal up, and made sure that we greased them before every training session so they didn't open back up again. But the format was really cool. The quick turnarounds and making sure you didn't have to get back in shape because you were already in shape. That was pretty neat for a lazy fighter like myself.
And what about fighting twice on the same night?
Man, that was an absolute blast.
What? Really?
Jeremy Horn told me this. He was one of those old school guys, and he said, look, it's going to be the most fun you'll have fighting, because when you fight the first one and you win, you feel invincible. And what do you want to do? You want to get back in there and do it again right away. Well, in a tournament, you actually have an opportunity to do that. And he was right. The kind of come from behind victory against Dan Sporn, and I just was feeling awesome. And all the nerves are shaken out at that point. You're not jittery anymore. Your body's still warm, and you just go back to the locker room, make sure that you get a little fluid in you, maybe a Gatorade, and then, an hour and a half later, you're back out there fighting again. And it's just unbelievable. It's a return to the old, wrestling tournament days. And I don't know, man, I loved it. And I hope that it catches on more and more in mixed martial arts, because there's ways to do it relatively safely. And I think the PFL figured it out.
Yeah. And it seems, before we get to the actual final, it seems like overall you were really happy with the experience. I know you spoke very nicely of them in the cage after the final, but, leading up to that point, the last few months of being a part of the PFL after your run in the UFC, correct me if I'm wrong, felt like a breath of fresh air for you, right?
Yeah, it was nice. And that's not to, cast aspersions on anyone's experience in the UFC or mine. I had fun in the UFC. I put on some great fights, and got some bonuses and things like that. It just, in the PFL, because of maybe the smaller roster and because of maybe lesser name recognition for some guys on the roster, it felt like when I started to fight well, they treated me like a featured guy. And when I made overtures to do the broadcasting thing and they saw that I had some talent for it, they let me do that. And they made me part of their plans, and they kept me informed, and they communicated with me, and they made me really a big part of the season. And I was just grateful for it. That's something I've been hoping for in my career, to kind of play dual roles, and they allowed me to do it. And obviously, when you win, it solves every problem, right? So when you're having good fight experiences, it makes everything else seem really cool too. So they paid us well. They traveled us well. They took care of us. And I don't know, man, it was just a really, really nice organization to be part of. And I'm really proud to be part of the first season and to be the champion.
Did you tell them that if you win the season, if you become champion, you were going to retire? Did they know about this?
Yeah, pretty much everyone knew about it. And I don't know, from the Ray Seffel perspective, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him. I think maybe they like the sort of right off into the sunset story, but maybe they would rather have a champion who's going to stick around and try and defend the belts. I don't know. They never tried to discourage me from doing it, but most people knew that this was my plan. Okay.
And what a plan, man. I mean, you couldn't script this. New York City, New Year's Eve, finals, first one of its kind, $1 million on the line, a brawl. I mean, this is the stuff like a fighter's dreams are made of, right? I know you're a writer. You couldn't have written something better than this.
Yeah, you couldn't have. And especially for me, right? Like, if you want a guy like me wants to beat Vinny, you got to brawl him. You got to find a way to make it ugly. And we were able to do it and survive that first round. And I just was really, really proud of the experience we had, the game plan we were able to execute. I finally think I represented my coach, Jeremy Horn, in the way that he deserves to be represented by defending, a lot of those ground attacks in the first round. And I was super pleased to have over 100 friends and family there that have been with me kind of along the way since I was fighting regionally in 2007 in Utah. And it felt like in a sport where, you don't see a lot of storybook endings.
Yeah.
And for a person like me that maybe doesn't deserve a lot of storybook endings, it's as close as I was going to get. And I was really, really happy to do it that way.
What do you mean by that? A person like me who doesn't deserve a storybook ending?
Man, just like, I'm not the best athlete in this sport. I'm not the best champion that the sport is going to see or has seen. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I just feel, disproportionately fortunate to have so many good people around me supporting me, an organization that gave me a second shot when a lot of people were done with me and had seen, the results of my last 3 fights in the UFC, and were just like, this guy's not that good. So I just feel lucky, and it was really cool to hopefully have it pay off not only for myself, but for everyone who put in the effort to support me and put in the effort to give me a chance.
Would you have been down to go into the fourth? It ends in between the third and fourth, TKO, corner stoppage, I should say. Vinny was just completely spent. Again, a brawl. What would you have thought of the fourth? Did you have enough in you to go into the fourth?
I could have done the 10th if I needed to.
Wow, nice.
I know everyone says this. When I fight, I look tired and I look exhausted, and I am, because I push as hard as my body's willing to go. Even when I'm in shape, I'm just, pushing a little bit harder, but I look equally tired. But you couldn't have stopped me. I was ready to go all the way through 5, and if there was a sudden death after 5, even though that's not in the rules, I would have done that too. I thought we were going to finish him in the third. Jeremy thought we were going to finish him in the third. And then as soon as he made it through the third, I went back to the corner and was like, okay, well, it's going to be the fourth then, because there's no way he can keep surviving these combinations, because I was landing. And credit to Vinny for being tough and having much more of a chin than I ever gave him credit for. But I knew I was going to get the finish. I didn't know it would be on the stool, and I just thought that, I could go as long as I needed to.
So I always had questions about the payout. So how does it work? You got $100,000 to show up, right? You both get $100,000, and now you win $900,000, equaling $1 million. Is that accurate?
Well, the total payout for the playoffs for the champion is $1 million. So for my the 2 fights I won in Long Beach, I got $100,000 for that as an advance on the semifinal. If you made it to the final, you were guaranteed at least $200,000. So they didn't want to leave us without a payday after the playoffs, so they paid us $100,000 after that, and then you were guaranteed at least another $100,000 for your fight in New York City. And as soon as your drug test comes back clean, you get the final $800,000. So I got $100,000 for the night in Long Beach, another $100,000 in New York City, and then when my drug test comes back clean, they'll be giving me the rest.
Okay, so you don't have it yet?
No.
When do you expect to get it?
Yeah, nope. Well, usually those drug tests take about, a week, 10 days, and then I imagine there'll be some administrative paperwork garbage that'll take another few days. So, I'll say that if I don't have it within 2 weeks, I'm going to start calling people, but not yet.
Okay. Any idea what you're going to do with it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and invest it properly, make it last. I mean, obviously, taxes take a huge chunk out of that.
Yeah.
But I've always been very smart with my money, and property, buying real estate is kind of how I've chosen to invest what windfalls I've gotten in my career. So gonna take a look at some properties in Hawaii, and then locally here, my wife wants to build a house here in Utah. I want to maybe get like a little vacation rental place in Hawaii that we can cash flow off of. But we'll see what's more affordable, what's more realistic, and eventually some kind of property will come out of this. But there's no rush because, the market is what it is.
Right. I'm wondering, up until this season of PFL, if you would have taken all your purses combined, would it have equaled $1 million?
No.
That's wild.
No, I think if you even going, I've got 30-something fights, right?
Yeah,
and seven of those were in the UFC, so that's when I started making real money. And I bonused 3 times in the UFC. So if I had to give you a rough estimate about how much I made, before PFL, I'd probably put it about $300,000, maybe $350,000. And taxes come out of all that too, and that's over the span of 10 years. So yeah, this last year of my career has been a huge blessing.
Will you be a part of their broadcast team for the second season?
Yeah, that's the plan. They've told me, they've given me assurances, at least verbal assurances, that it's in their plans as well. And we'll do everything we can to get all that on paper and make sure it actually comes to fruition. I'm less of a skeptic than I used to be because everything that they've told me was going to happen this season has happened. So I trust them as far as you can trust a mixed martial arts organization and an employer when things are not on paper. But they've treated me very, very well, and I expect that treatment to continue. And I think, I'm more confident in my abilities as a broadcaster than I am in my abilities as a fighter in a lot of ways. So I think they'd be foolish not to bring me back and give me more of those opportunities. So I'm confident that things will go well.
I think you do a great job, and the fact that you are now a product of the system, you've been through the tournament, what great insight, right? I mean, of course, Randy Couture, Bas Rutten, all these guys are phenomenal, but it's nice to have an actual product of the product. You know what I mean? Come out there and talk about it. So I think it's great. I think it would be to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the nice thing for me, I think I feel a different role than the legends, like the Boss and the Randy. Those guys are unbelievable as color commentators. I think that I fit well into the play-by-play role, but just, play-by-play guy with a little bit more of an inside knowledge of the ins and outs of the sports and what it's like to actually be in there. Nobody else who sits in that quote-unquote one chair, nobody else has really fought at the level that I've fought at. So hopefully that's a niche that I can really fill and become kind of like the guy in the MMA broadcasting world who does the play-by-play side of things, but also has fought. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And in addition to all of that, you will continue your radio show. That's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's on SiriusXM, Channel 93, MMA Tonight, and it's Tuesday evenings, correct?
No, actually, I started off with SiriusXM doing that. Now I do their Pac-12 channel 5 days a week, It's 4 to 7 Mountain Time. So what's that? Eastern Time. That's 6 to 9 Eastern Time.
Okay.
And it's channel 373, and we cover Pac-12 sports. The football, basketball, all that good stuff.
Oh, so no more MMA.
Well, I do post-fight shows. I do post-fight live after the UFC pay-per-views, but it came down to, do I want to do one show on mixed martial arts per week, or do I want to do 5 shows? And obviously, there's a pretty large pay difference between those two things, and so I chose the 5 shows instead of just the one, because they were during the same time slot. And it was a bummer, because I really, really love doing the show with Misha Tate. I used to do it on Wednesday nights with Misha, so I'm bummed out I don't get to do that anymore. She's an absolute pro. But I have a great time doing the bat and ball sports on Pac-12 channel with Jeff Schwartz.
What do you have more of a passion for, MMA talk or bat and ball talk?
I probably have more of a passion for MMA talk, just because I was a better fighter than I ever was football player. But I also acknowledge that our sport is a very niche audience.
Yeah.
And even though it's growing and expanding, it's nowhere near what college football or basketball or the NFL is. And there's greater opportunity if you're covering the bat and ball sports. So I'll stick with that avenue as long as I can.
And when is your wife expecting?
Due in early May 11th.
Okay, wow. And your first one, right?
Yeah, my first one, her first one, our first one. It was nice to have that kind of develop during the PFL season, because then I had something much more significant to be nervous about and didn't have to worry about the fights.
Yeah, of course. And probably a little more motivation as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, because I always thought it was a little bit cliche when guys would talk about, well, no, this isn't just about me. I have to provide for my family.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but it really is. It's different, the idea that people that you really, really love are relying on you, and it's not just, I can get by on the loser's purse, but I don't want to ever have to force my wife or my daughter or anyone else to have to settle for less than my absolute best. So it really is a motivator. It's wild.
And any more books in the works?
Well, my plan, my big goal for 2018 was to finish the sequel to my original book, because I'm about halfway there. And then this PFL tournament and all the training for it really took over a huge chunk of my time. Now that that's out of the way, I have a renewed resolve to finish the sequel to my first book. So hopefully that'll be done by 2020.
Okay. Wow, you got a lot on your plate. I like it. You're an ambitious man. And again, what a way to go out. I really commend you on that. Truly a storybook ending. Very happy for you, Sean. Congratulations on the victory. Congratulations on everything you did in your career. Very fun to cover your career, from the brawls to the funny weigh-ins. You were very entertaining. So thank you so much for all of that. Thank you for the time. Get back to work, though. All right. I think I've taken up enough of your time here this afternoon.
Yeah, I gotta go pay the bills. I appreciate you having me, and I know I've said this before, but it's been fun to follow your career, the guy who kind of started the whole MMA journalist thing, and obviously, upgrading and moving to the 4-letter and all the stuff that comes with that. Congratulations on it. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, Sean. And congratulations to you and your wife as well. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. There he is, Sean O'Connell, winner of the light heavyweight PFL tournament. What a great moment. We have the highlights up, by the way, on our new YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESPN MMA. You can see highlights of the entire evening. Louise Taylor with an amazing knockout, 38 years young, winning the $1 million. Kayla Harrison, victorious as well. So if you missed any of that, if you were watching our award show, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch the highlights. Speaking of the award show, one of our breakout fighters of 2018 is our final guest of the day. He returns to action on January 19th against Donald Cerrone in the headliner of the very first card on ESPN. He is Alex the Great Hernandez. He joins us right now via the magic of Skype. Alex, how are you?
Hey, doing well, brother. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I just want to ask right off the top, do you hear any feedback when I talk?
No, I can hear well. Are you having trouble with me?
No. Do you hear feedback when you talk?
No.
Okay, perfect. I just want to get that out of the way.
First time's a go. Normally it's not like that.
Yes,
Normally it's not easy.
we're good. We're good. Well, Alex, okay, we have a lot to talk about. The fight's rapidly approaching. First, let me ask you this. You were originally supposed to fight Francisco Trinaldo on January 26th. They changed it up. Now you're fighting a legend, Donald Cerrone. What was your reaction when you found out you're going from Trinaldo to Cowboy Cerrone?
Just supreme excitement, man. I was wrapping up my day. I think it was like on a Wednesday night or Thursday night, and I had a couple missed calls from my manager and a text. They said, call me ASAP. So that's either extremely good or bad, right? And so, I hurried up, got to the phone and gave him a ring, and, to my delight, it was, entirely great news. And he said that Sean Shelby brought the option to the table to meet in Brooklyn on an ESPN inaugural card and fight Cerrone. And I guess we just completely do away with the Anaheim card. And so when I heard that, of course, like all opportunities, I seized them. And so I just said, fuck yeah, the top of my lungs and snagged it. And so we've just been moving forward on that since. And so I've been pretty excited. And I completely forgot, too, that it was somebody reminded me it was a week sooner.
Yep.
I could leave as soon as tomorrow and schedule that fight up by Tuesday. So I'm fired up.
And was a part of you a little bit surprised that Cerrone was the name? I mean, he just had this win over Perry. He says he's coming down to 155. He said that, they had big plans for him and all this stuff. Were you surprised that they were actually offering you Cerrone?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the way that we kind of forecasted internally, that would have been the most ideal paradigm of a fight I could have hoped for, would have been a name like Cerrone to boost my stock and certainly catapult me into that limelight of the top 5, certainly breaking the top 10. And so I didn't see it coming at all, because I know that there were rumors of, and maybe he was spilling those rumors, of him and McGregor and things like that. So everybody was kind of like, how the fuck did it go from that to me? and I don't blame him, but I was happy to see that my site lined up with the UFC's, and that I am the future of the sport, the future of this organization, and certainly the division. And so I was extraordinarily pleased and grateful, just gracious to see the UFC gave me that opportunity, because they could have given it to anybody.
I'm not surprised that the UFC would want to make this match, because it's the classic young rising star against a guy who's obviously doing well, competitive, but almost 10 years older than you. I'm a little surprised that Donald would say yes, because in this game, the older guy's gonna be like, why would I fight this guy? He's a stud. Look at him. He's killing everyone. You know what I mean? It's crazy, right? It doesn't actually make any sense for Donald to say yes to this.
Yeah, old crazy Don, man, just getting senile in his ways. I don't know, but I'm so happy for him, man. I couldn't be more grateful that he's a man who stands by what he says, and that's, any person, anytime, anywhere. And so, I was kind of baffled that he would take that shot, because it doesn't seem like he has much to gain for it. So I don't know what the matchmakers or the organization might have been whispering in his ear, in order to get him to agree to this fight, or what's to come next for him. But I'm happy it happened. Yeah, I couldn't really believe it either.
I saw actually on your Twitter, when he beat Perry, you were actually rooting for him. You sent him a tweet. You were excited that he pulled off the win, right? Yeah. So it seems like you're a fan.
Oh yeah, I just have respect. Whenever I see upsets or outstanding fights. I'm not big on Twitter, as you know. I don't like to do that, but I just don't care to take the time. But whenever I can't help but kind of get excited, sometimes I just take to it to let it out. And so that was, I think, in everybody's mind, a bit of an upset, because Mike Perry, who was on a good streak, was a top 70 contender, and they kind of expected him to wash over Cerrone. And so to see Cerrone go out there, do his thing, and take a huge win over Perry was awesome. I was happy to see it, because truthfully, I was nervous for him going into it. So it was definitely cool to see, and it worked out incredibly in my favor. Now that he's coming off a big win like Perry, and then I get to starch him the way that I intend to, it's perfect. It's a perfect storybook for me. So kudos to Don, and then thanks again for taking this fight.
It's funny, because I remember when you first came on Twitter after beating Beneil Dariush, and you remind us that you're not a big Twitter guy, but here you are doing video blogs and putting them out on your Instagram. You're like a social media star now. And I watched one of those video blogs this morning, and I can't help but notice your right eye. There appears to be a bit of a cut over there, and I'm not being an a-hole by bringing this up, because you chronicle it on your video blog, the cut opening up, and I think your mom is the one who closed it shut, right? Am I talking about the right cut?
Yeah.
Right over there, right? Right over your right eyebrow, correct?
Yeah, it's just about completely gone now. It was honestly, I thought it was an old battle wound. I had a little bit of a head collision when it wasn't even the main sparring rounds. Sometimes get a little excited, I guess. And it was a real aggressive day. It was a Thursday, and so we were getting after an MMA practice in the morning, intense pad rounds during the day. And so the bleeding stopped pretty quick in between. I was able to get through the day with those pad rounds, run some errands, and then went by my folks' house and had them sealed up. And they've been kind of like my home medics for, my entire upbringing. We never were big on going to the doctor's offices or hospitals. We just kind of took care of it on the kitchen counter. So it was cool that she was able to suture it up real fast. And it's already just about gone, so I'm not worried about it. And I wasn't really worried about putting it out there.
Okay, yeah, I was surprised you put it out there.
She's going to have to try to hit me no matter what. So.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this guy's so confident he's putting out his cuts in training. That's rare.
I figure, what's the worst he's going to do is try to punch me in the face. So,
right.
Good luck.
Yes.
I'm not too worried about it. And I've had blood in my eyes a few times.
Another thing that I noticed that I wanted to ask you about, I've seen ice baths before. I haven't really seen someone fill up a bucket of ice and then do it as slowly. I wish I had the footage here, but you're just it almost seems like a form of torture the way you were doing it, slowly pouring it all over your body. Why do you do it like that? Why don't you just do the traditional ice bath?
Well, it's certainly the only form of submission that I'll concede to. It's the idea of composing yourself, resetting and surrendering to kind of the elements, whether it be water, ice, external forces, and the temperament of the air, the ground, but being able to compose yourself whenever you have those inclement or extreme temperaments facing you. And so with the water, it's extremely cold. I put 10, 20 pounds depends the size of the bucket, and let it sit for a bit. And I pull the ice chunks out, and then you slow douse. And that slow douse, it's kind of like an internal awakening. And then you learn to breathe through that. You learn to compose yourself, and you kind of learn how to just control your body in times of high stress. And it teaches you not to meet tension with tension.
Wow.
So there's a lot to it, but I also like to do the ice baths because there's a lot to that too. And at the end of it, again, it's all about surrendering and not meeting that tension with the tension. And so it keeps you cool, keeps you composed, and keeps you wise between the ears.
Man,
for sure.
You're like what's that movie? I feel like American Psycho. You're just so cerebral when you talk. Has anyone ever told you that you're like that guy in American Psycho?
No, man.
Okay.
I'll take it to the best of.
Yes, it's a compliment. You're just so
side.
freaking cerebral. It's unbelievable. It's like the way you break things down, analytical. It's just incredible. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I listen. I feel like I'm getting smarter talking to you, and I'm 10 years older than you.
I appreciate it. I think Don will get a pleasure of me teaching him a technique or two also,
Yes.
and he's 10 years older.
Right.
Yeah.
Well done. So it's funny that we're talking, first show of the year. What a year you had last year. And I loved what you put out on your Instagram not that long ago about that letter that you wrote to yourself, and you finally got the letter, right? You got it about.
Yeah, that was very cool. Yeah.
Could you tell the people in case they missed it?
Yeah, so I guess the spark note of it, I was a loan officer after college with a finance degree, and still fighting mixed martial arts, but went through highs and lows, and certainly doubted myself, and I guess it kind of goes back to the concept of the water and the cold water and facing those external forces. The strength that I found in working in the professional field, I think it's a lot about developing your mind. And developing your mind, maybe in this case for me, it was in the business world and in the world of communication. And the more that mind expands, the more that you can see your physical self expand, the more that you can see the possibilities that you can attain with your body. And so I think for me, I gained a lot of maturity through my job, through that job as a loan officer. But I also kind of suffered the entire time of kind of I had a split dual personality. I was Mr. Hey, Susan, how's the coffee in the morning? And then at night, I was like, hey, motherfucker, put those gloves on. I was aggro at night, and I was trying to figure out which route to carry on with. And for the longest time, it tore at me. So being who I am, I just knew I had to do the most until one path became just abundantly clear. And then finally, as I kind of quoted in the past, I had this quarter-life crisis, as I like to call it, and decided that it was time for me to shit or get off the pot. And so at the same time period, I just won this big fight in LFA in Oklahoma, and I was also going through this, it was called a sales mastery course. And at the end of that course, we were supposed to write a letter to ourselves, just proclaiming what we were to accomplish in the next year, where our goals as far as like our volume and numbers we'd sell, or what our business title would be, cars we wanted to own, houses we would, close on, things like that. And for me, at this point, I'd finally confirmed to myself that you're going to be this fighter or this champion that you set out to be back when you were 18 years old and just started this journey. And so for me, all I put down was that something to the effect of, congratulations, kid, you're in the UFC, you just won your first fight, you made it. And putting it out there like that, I feel like there's a lot to verbalizing it, visualizing it, and then having it manifest in front of you. And so that's kind of what that letter was. And certainly there's a longer story behind it, and I kind of posted to it. But what I was saying before, I think the more that you're able to expand your mind in different realms, a lot of people are just fighters. And so they never know how to like gain the maturity in the outside world. For me, I went to the outside world. I worked 12-hour days and trained 4-hour days. And growing my mind both in the business sector and the communication sector, I matured rapidly, and then I gained confidence knowing that I don't have to just be a fighter. I could do anything in this world and be successful. And with that, I was able to see myself in a new light, see new physical potentials that I wouldn't have been able to untap, I believe. And so now this whole fighting thing just kind of feels easy. And I approach it differently than anybody else would approach it, I feel like.
And you ended up being somewhat wrong because you were 2-0 in the UFC, right? By the time you got that letter?
Right. So, yeah, I should have shot a little higher.
Yeah.
I kind of discredited myself a bit, I'd say. Yeah. So now we're 2-0, and I'd wanted to be 3-0 by the end of the year, but I think that there's a different plan in place. And this certainly worked out great in our favor, having the Cerrone fight to kick off the new year.
What was it like when you got the letter?
Man, it was weird. So it's funny seeing your own handwriting.
Yeah.
I had this letter come in, and I thought, oh, that looks like a familiar script. And so I opened it, and of course, once I saw the little insignia in the corner, I knew exactly what it was, and so I kind of had this little chill down my spine.
Wow!
And it was a really powerful moment opening that letter and reading it. It was cool, and I recommend that for anybody. It's hard, it's difficult to like take the time. Maybe it's not even difficult; just nobody really gives a shit to you because it feels silly to write things down.
Right.
But every time I do, whether it be an issue I'm having or a goal I'm setting, there's something to, again, vocalizing it and then putting it out there in the world on paper, through speech, and having it come to fruition. It's so empowering. And then again, it kind of propels you to see more of yourself. And then you set the goal higher, and you set the goal higher, and you set the goal higher. So
where's the letter now?
Where's the letter?
Yeah.
Now the letter's hanging up in it's hanging up in my refrigerator. I was gonna say hanging up. It's hanging on my refrigerator.
Yes.
Stamped on my refrigerator door.
And now here you are about to headline the first ESPN portion of a card. I mean, it's unbelievable. What a story. A year ago, not even in the UFC, you're fighting a legend like Cowboy Cerrone. This is incredible stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped, dude. And right now, you caught me in a particularly peaceful state.
Okay, that's cool.
Normally I've got a little bit more charisma, more excitement, but I'm so calm right now, and I'm so ready. Like I said, I mean, I kind of hit these points right before the fight. Normally we don't talk, a week or two out, but it's kind of like this calm before the storm. When I've done all the hard work, I've done all the preparation. I just woke up from a chill nap on the mat right now to talk to you, and I'm about to get to my next session here.
Okay.
And I just feel, I feel completely unified within myself, just mind, body, spirit. And so, dude, I'm fucking stoked. I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's end on this. If I were to ask you to write a letter to yourself today, and you're going to receive it on January 7th, 2020, what are you putting in there?
Congratulations, champ. You got the belt.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to have that belt by the spring of 2020. And if you're going to make me date that letter 2 months in advance, I'm still going to put the title on it.
Damn. All right.
And that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I can't wait. Alex?
Absolutely.
Good luck. See you out in Brooklyn.
I'll see you in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah. You're
Looking
going to be out
forward
there
to it.
then?
I will be there. Yes, I will be there. I'm looking
Beautiful.
forward to it. Good luck in the next week and safe travels.
Okay. Thanks, Ariel. Always a pleasure.
All right, there he is, Alex Hernandez. Powerful stuff there. Every time I talk to Alex Hernandez, I just feel a little better about humanity, right? I mean, 26 years young, and for him, I'd like to say 26 years old because it feels like he's wise beyond his years. I mean, it's just incredible the way he is, the maturity that he has, and just his whole demeanor and his outlook, the way he speaks. Unbelievable. I'm looking forward to that. So that is Alex Hernandez. That is Donald Cerrone, and that's happening Saturday, January 19th, Barclays Center. I saw a seat map of the Barclays Center, and it seems like the whole thing is pretty much filled up. Before I go, thank you very much to Alex, and thank you very much to all the guests on today's program. I mentioned that he was one of our breakout fighters of the year. I just wanted to, just so I had them on the record, because some people were mad at me, mention, and we'll talk a little more about the award show, but very, very quickly mention my honorable mentions for each category, because I essentially promised some people that I would mention them, and I didn't, and I feel bad about that. So some of them didn't have honorable mentions, like female fighter, I named them all. Fight, I didn't, so I'd like to mention Yair Rodriguez and the Korean Zombie, Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega, and Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. These are some other honorable mentions from the 2018 Helwani Knows Awards. Round, which I know a lot of you hated. Miocic Ngannou was my winner. And by the way, fight was Whitaker Romero. Cormier Miocic, round 1. Cerrone Medeiros, round 1. Manuel Santos, round 1. That was mentioned. But actually, Whitaker Romero, round 3 was my real number 2. Someone on the team put Santos Manuel. I thought Whitaker Romero, round 3, was the second best round of the year. Knockout, we had Nunes Cyborg, Romero Rockhold, Moraes Rivera, Nico Price, and Randy Brown. These are, by the way, these are the honorable mentions. So I'm not going through the finalists because you've seen all that before, but I just wanted to highlight these guys who I didn't get to say on television. Submission, Paul Craig against Magomed Ankalaev, Alexei Oleinik versus Junior Albini, and Michael Chiesa versus Carlos Condit. Breakout fighter, Alex Hernandez, Zabit Magomed Sharipov, Peter Yan, Wiley Zhang, Jeff Neal, Dominic Reyes. Most improved, Dustin Poirier, Kyoji Horiguchi. Comeback fighter, Jermaine Durandamy, JDS, Luis Smolka, Yair Rodriguez, and Daniel Cormier. Comeback fighter, remember how his year ended. Upset, Nunes Cyborg, of course, Tomas Narkun, Mohamed Khalidov, Ray Cooper, Jake Shields. Rivalry, Tyron Woodley versus Dana White. Now we could add Colby Covington versus Dana White. Dustin Poirier versus Eddie Alvarez, and Daniel Cormier versus John Jones. I got through all the coaches. I got through the events. Crowds, I want to give shout out to Hawaii, Toronto, and Moscow. Walkouts, didn't get to mention Darren Till in Liverpool, obviously. Yamamoto at Ryzen 13, Tai Tuivasa in Chicago, and Mark Hunt in Adelaide. And I do believe that what was sort of highlighted as poster of the year was actually a poster that happened or was put out in December. I blame New York Rick for that. But the real thing, the real message of the whole poster of the year category was that Invicta won the whole thing. It doesn't really matter. You could pick any one of those. They were all great, and even the ones that I didn't show were great. Invicta killed everyone in the poster of the year department, and it was more of a blanket promotion award as opposed to one singular poster. But the one that we did highlight actually was one from 2017, so I wanted to note that that we were technically wrong for that one. But you get what I was trying to say. It was Invicta. They killed everyone. All right? So that's the show. We'll do the post-show with New York Rick. You can get that on iTunes and YouTube and all those places. We'll talk a little more about the end of 2018, obviously the beginning of 2019, John Jones, Tyron Woodley, the welterweight title picture, all that stuff and more. But for now, we shall say goodbye. Yes. And we shall say goodbye to the studio, at least for now. We had a nice little 7-month run. Next week, we'll be doing the show from the same studio that you saw the New Year's Eve show from. And to anyone who watched the New Year's Eve show, whether it was live or taped, I can't thank you enough. It was a real pleasure. It was a real fun experience. And I had a blast doing it. So thank you very much to anyone who took some time out of their New Year's Eve or maybe even New Year's Day to watch that. I really appreciate it. Fun show today in the books. Thank you to all our guests. An interesting one. Wow, Colby Covington with the shoot promo, if you will. Add a character. No MAGA stuff. Very interesting. Thank you to Colby Covington for stopping by. Thank you to Joanne Calderwood for stopping by. Good luck to her on January 19th. Thank you very much to Corey Anderson for coming in studio. That was great stuff. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much to Kat Zingano. Get well soon. Thank you very much to Cain Velasquez. Good luck to him on February 17th. Thank you very much to Rachael Ostovich. Good luck to her on January 19th. Thank you very much to Sean O'Connell. Happy trails to him. And thank you very much to Alex, the great Hernandez. Good luck on January 19th. If you missed anything, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, all those places and more. Back next week. Same time, different place. Tell us it. Peace. I'm out of here.